Gershenson. Nudes.
Here.
Taylor.
Here.
Hoffman.
Present.
Johnson.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Would everyone kindly join me in the Pledge of Allegiance today? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes dated January 13th, 2026, moved by Commissioner Loop, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Our minutes have been approved. I would entertain a motion to approve today's agenda, moved by Commissioner Loop, seconded by Commissioner Taylor. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Our agenda's been approved. We've got 2 communication items from the Clerk and Register of Deeds. Any discussion on those communication items? Questions, comments, concerns? All right, I told her they wouldn't be a problem. They have been duly received. Next, we're gonna have fun today. We're going to do our presentation fair from our regional authorities. Up first, we've got a presentation from the Citizens Advisory Council of the Detroit Regional Convention Authority, Mavita Burris. Mavita, she is online. Mavita, the floor is all yours. Tell us what's going on with the Detroit Regional Convention Authority and specifically the Citizens Advisory Council.
Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry I have the flu, that's why I'm not there. But since the inception of the regional authority, we have been, we initially started with several meetings working towards ensuring that we were getting updated information about the authority, the convention center, and then it kind of dwindled off, if you will, and we have not been meeting regularly. We did recently make contact with Claude Molinari and the regional authorities, the new president there. We were in touch with Patrick Barrow. He's not there anymore. So we are trying to reconvene this group with the 3 counties that are involved and get this back in operation. I did ask for an invitation to their meeting schedule, and I'm asking them to invite us all, each county, to those meetings to ensure that we're able to get the information that we need for our county and also to share that information back with you all. Back in 2018, Patrick came to the council, to the commissioners, and shared information about what was going on with the with Cobo Hall at the time, and now Huntington. So we want to make sure that we get back to that type of protocol, that you all are aware of what's happening with them, what are some of the outcomes and inputs that they're doing, especially with the dollars that the region, the county is providing to them. So that is my goal, is to make sure that we continue and that we are getting updated information. So I have asked to be added to their meeting schedules.
Awesome. Thank you very much. For colleagues' context, if you go into the item summary on 8B, there's a little bit of like a statutory about section. But Pam, I'm wondering if you could just highlight for us as a group, like what the current state of affairs is with this organization specifically?
Yes, I got a communication from the chief officer of the Detroit Regional Convention Authority, and he said that he's had an issue with having quorum, having people appointed, and we're not the only people that appoint to these boards. We have Macomb and Wayne County as well. So that has been the issue on why they haven't been meeting.
Where a quorum has not been appointed,
Correct.
much less shown up.
Correct.
We continue to appoint, but
Yes.
other appointed spots have been vacant.
And I reached out to Macomb and Wayne, my cohorts over there, and I don't know, I think something fell through the cracks because they weren't aware. I shared the statute with them, that the Citizens Advisory Council was appointed through statute when the Detroit Regional Convention Authority was established. And so anyway, they thanked me for sharing the information. They were gonna look into it further. But at the end of the day, we're doing the right thing and we're appointing the people we're supposed to appoint. We've been doing this since.
When was the last time they actually met?
Evita, do you know when they last met?
We last met, I want to say in 2016, and it was only Macomb and I. Wayne County did not show.
Oh,
Commissioner Gershenson.
Well, I could say that this is a great example of when we appoint, they have to get back to us either twice a year or once a year, because this is pretty outrageous.
So to that end, on our agenda today is a motion to keep Evita in her spot. Would love for the other counties to go ahead and fill their spots so that you can meet for the first time in almost a decade. Yeah, any other questions or comments? Commissioner?
So if the last time you met was in 2016 and it was just yourself and Macomb, was that considered a quorum?
Yes, I guess if it's only the 3 counties, but even he and I was a gentleman. We didn't know what we were supposed to do because there was no body governing. So we just met up at their meeting at the Detroit Regional meeting, and just took their packet, took their information, and I believe in 2018 I came and presented the information and brought Patrick with me.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Commissioner Erickson?
thank you, Chair. Mabita, it says there's 8 members and some of them are coming from like the city of Detroit, I'm assuming. So it sounds like it's not just the county appointees who are not showing up. It sounds like maybe the city appointees might not be showing up either.
More than likely, yes.
Well, thank you for being ready and willing to show up, which knowing you, I know you are.
Yes, and one of the things is that I work in the city of Detroit, so I know Claude, I knew Patrick, I know them from life, and they didn't even know what was going on or what was happening. And now that they have the new person, I did reach out to him and say, also I would love to meet and just talk and get some information on what they have coming up and going on. Because it is, a part of a convention center that we all use, and I want to make sure that, they're doing the right things.
Yes, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you for joining us, Mavita. Hope you can meet soon. Wish we had more power over that.
Yeah, somebody brought the flu to my house, and I was doing great until this week, and I was like, I'm down.
You know what, the hungered out, take the zinc and all the other stuff. I was out for the count for 2.5 weeks at the top of the year, so Godspeed. All right, yeah. Moving on then, our next presentation from the Oakland County Art Institute Authority, we've got Sworn Rushpal. Hi there. If you just, make yourself comfortable at the head of the table. Tell us what's going on at the DIA.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioner Johnson and committee members. Thank you for inviting me to report on the status of the Oakland County Art Institute Authority. My name is Swarn Rajpal, and I currently serve as the chair of the Oakland County Art Institute Authority, or OCAIA. My involvement with the Detroit Institute of Art dates back to approximately 2016, shortly after the Grand Bargain, when the Asian galleries were launched. I'm a general surgeon by profession. The authority was established under the Art Institute Authorities Act, Public Act 296 of 2010, and is organized pursuant to Articles of Incorporation filed by the Oakland County. The authority consists of 5 board members, and in addition, OCAIA appoints 2 Oakland County designees to serve on the Detroit Institute of Art Board of Directors. I will briefly introduce each member and then provide an overview of the millage and our service agreement with the DIA. Barbara Whitaker serves as vice chair of the authority. Mrs. Whitaker is a highly accomplished business leader with extensive board services across major corporations and nonprofits. Jennifer Miller is the secretary of the authority. She is an attorney with the Michigan Education Association. Prior to relocating to Oakland County, Ms. Miller served as chair of the Macomb County Art Authority. James Chrisbrook is a board member. He's a realtor, educator, motivational speaker, and frequent visitor to the DIA. Jenny Brown is a board member. She is the co-founder and CEO of Dutton Farms, a nonprofit organization that empowers and supports adults with disabilities to live with purpose, inclusion, and dignity. Bo Cheng and Dave Flynn are appointed by OCAIA to serve a 3-year term on the DIA Board of Directors. Bo Cheng is CEO designate of the Clemis Authority and is proficient in public safety software and technology. Dave Flynn served 5 terms as Macomb County Commissioner, and his peers elected him board chairman for 4 of those years. The OCAIA meets 4 times a year. DIA provides report at 3 of these meetings. Barbara Whitaker and James Chrisbrook are appointed to the OCAIA by the county executive, Dave Coulter, for a 4-year term. Jen Miller, Jenny Brown, and myself are appointed to the chair by the chair of the Oakland County Commissioners, Dave Woodward, for a 2-year term. We suggest standardizing all OCAIA board members' terms to 4 years to ensure consistency and continuity. Turning now to the millage, a public millage to support the DIA was first approved by Oakland County voters in 2012, along with a 10-year service agreement between OCAIA and the DIA. The millage was renewed by voters in 2021 for another 10-year period. The current service agreement is for 3 years and is scheduled for renewal later this year. The authorized millage rate is 0.20 mils of taxable property value and will remain in effect through 2031. Oakland County residents contribute approximately $15 million annually as part of the Tri-County millage, accounting for about 68% of the DIA's operating budget. In return, Oakland County residents receive substantial benefits, including free unlimited general admission to the DIA, free K-12 school field trips with transportation, free senior group programs with transportation for groups of 25 or more, and a wide range of community partnership initiatives. These include programs such as Inside Out, the Partners in Public Arts mural program, and drop-in art-making activities at fairs and festivals, delivered in partnership with local nonprofit organizations, cities, townships, and villages. The renewed agreement also introduced a pilot in-school program, increased spending goals for community partnerships, and an expansion of the Inside Out program to include all Oakland County's senior centers. Today, the Detroit Institute of Art is recognized as one of the world's leading art museums. It hosts major special exhibitions, and its collections regularly travel to museums throughout the United States and Europe. The DIA has long benefited from significant philanthropic support. In 1915, its endowment stood at $50,000. As of June 2024, the endowment has grown to $466 million, with a target of $800 million by 2032. The Oakland County Treasurer's Office, under the leadership of Robert Wittenberg, serves as the conduit for millage funds from county residents to the DIA. All financial activities are audited annually by Plant Moran and Raman accounting firms. To date, all audits have met accounting standards and have been satisfactory. In closing, the Oakland County Art Institute Authority is meeting its responsibilities and fulfilling voter expectations by ensuring that art and cultural enrichment are accessible to the residents who support it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Questions? Commissioner Gershenson.
Great update. Thank you for coming.
Invited, so I came.
Any other questions? I was there this weekend. Oh, okay, yes, Commissioner Hoffman.
Thank you for coming. I love the Art Institute. I supported saving that art back in 2012. And I heard you say about the money that's put aside. Has a foundation been set up now? So you never have to ask for the tax again? Here's why I say that. Because in 2012, you came before the Board of Commissioners, not you, the DIA, and said if we support this tax increase, it's temporary, which is the closest thing you get to eternity. We support this tax thing, it will never come back again because we're setting up a foundation. Well, before it's expired, you came back in and wanted to renew it. I supported the first time, I didn't the second, so.
So this is a question more suitable for the DIA
Okay,
rather than us. We are,
okay, I understand.
but my understanding is the original plan was to save the DIA.
True.
That was the 10-year deal.
Yep.
And it did well, and they justified why another 10 years will help. The idea was once they have enough endowment, then the income from the endowment will be sufficient to provide the cost for the operations.
Right, which hopefully will eliminate the
Right,
tax,
so-
'cause that was the original plan.
Right, so when it came to 10 years, I guess the big authorities decided they needed more and justified it and went to the voters and got it approved. So what happens when it expires at the end of 31 is open at this time.
All right, thank you.
Could you just repeat the numbers, speaking of the endowment, what the endowment stands at and then what the goal is?
The numbers I picked up from the net. And I was impressed that the endowment started in 1915, and that's long, and it was at 50,000. And in 24 is the last reported public report, and that is at 466 million. So now we are in 26, and I think 32 is probably when the tax support goes away, and they are targeting at 800 million. So I think 15 million is 68% of their operational expense. So 100 million, 120 million may be the real expense, and how the time goes and how people plan finances and stuff like that. There's a lot of money also used for acquiring artworks. Many are acquired by, what they call restricted funds. And then there are unrestricted funds, so there's a whole lot of things that I am not an expert at. So that's money matters.
Got it. Any other questions, comments? I'll just say for the benefit of the room, I was there this weekend. All of us are citizens of Oakland County, so we all have free admission. There's a temporary gallery on contemporary Anishinaabe art. It is very good. If you haven't gone to see it, take an afternoon to go see it. Thank you very much, Dr. Rushbaum. Next up, we've got Brandon Colo talking about the Oakland County Zoological Authority. What's going on at DZS?
Commissioner Johnson, thank you for having us or be here today. Let me see if I can get this up on the window for everyone.
I think I saw you were just made up for speaker. Oh, cool.
I'm a visual learner, so I bring stuff to see. Okay. So hello everyone, I am Brandon Colo. I'm a Royal Oak City Commissioner and I'm also the chair of the Oakland County Zoo Tax Authority.
Maybe hide everyone.
Or shove us to the side, maybe.
There we go.
There.
Okay. So the authority, just for some education here, was established in 2008 by Public Act 49, if everyone remembered that. And our job is to levy the tax to help support the zoo. We're part of the Tri-County Millage, so it's us, Oakland and Wayne. And we must, part of the law says we have to connect with a zoo, and we happen to have one zoo in the area, so we support the Detroit Zoo. The authority was set up, we have 5 members. that are voting members. 2 are appointed by the executive and 3 are confirmed, appointed by the chair of the county commission with the confirmation of the full board. And then, of course, the county treasurer serves as our authority treasurer in a non-voting capacity. So the current membership is myself and Jennifer Greco. Alex Cooper, who is the dean of this, he's been on this commission since its inception. Millie Hall and Elizabeth Howe. And then Rob Kalman, Gretchen Parks, Tamika Ramsey, former Commissioner Zach, and Richard Stanger are all alternate members. Our alternates do a really good job at showing up at every meeting. They're there in case someone doesn't show up and can't vote, but they're really active in the participation and the discussion. So they play a really vital role to making sure we have a good discussion. So what do we do? Well, it's pretty easy. We take the money in and we give it to the zoo. That's kind of our job. We contract with the zoo and we provide oversight and governance. The zoo, depending on how many meetings we have in a year, they provide updates to us. We review their audit. Part of the deal is they must give us their audit and their budget. So we make sure that they're spending taxpayer dollars wisely. So we, at our meetings, by law, we must pass a budget, we must levy the tax, and we must complete an audit on our own too. Currently, the millage, it was approved back in 2016 at 0.1 mils. Thanks to the heavily rollback, we're down to 0.0935 or $9.35 for every $100,000 of state equalized value that you have in your house to steal for Oakland County residents. And this is our budget. So when I first joined the commission, I joined back in 2019, and our budget looked a lot different. It was on a single page with basically the numbers are what this year's are. We now do our budget by the Michigan Uniform Budget Act, which is required by law for us to do. So we look back and then we look to the future also. So on this big screen here, the numbers to look at are last year we took in $7.1 million in total revenue from the county. And that goes almost directly to the zoo. And like I said, we look back and then into the future also. So then one thing we also do is that we put together budget resolutions. You know, I actually stole this from my municipal work so that we can authorize the chair to use to execute the agreements. We can authorize buy-in stuff, contracting with the county. We do contract with you all. You are very gracious and let us use your support staff to complete our work, which is a vital part of what we do. So these resolutions were introduced a handful of years ago and really, we hope, provide legitimacy to everything that we're doing. So when thinking about that $7.1 million, I pulled the zoo's budget, because once again, that's something that they must present to us every year. And highlighted in red there, it's about $16 million that they receive in total county support from all 3 counties. Oakland County provides over 40% of that. So we are big benefactors of the zoo also. I know that the zoo is coming to, I believe, your next board meeting and they will give a presentation. So I will let them tell you all the great benefits that they provide to county residents. But I know that they are continuing to expand out into the county and not only Southeast Oakland County, right? Like I'm lucky. I'm in Royal Oak, the zoo is at my house. I can get there in about 5 minutes. But they're going up into Northern Oakland County also with their outreach efforts. Another part of this presentation will talk about what contractually they have to do, and they've gone above and beyond that for decades now, and they have really ramped it up in the last handful of years. With Dr. Murphy and Dr. Hanlon, they're really looking to expand, and they want to be part of the community. Part of the zoo's mission is education and outreach. So it's not just because they want the tax dollars, it is their mission to make sure people are educated on conservation and why animal welfare matters. This is statutory, I must sign this every year, so we actually sign to levy the taxes. Like I said, this year is 0.0935. So the levy goes through 2027. There's a lot of talk right now about millages coming up, and I'm sure that at some point they'll probably want to renew the millage, and this is a conversation that will come forth. I pulled this from our articles of organization. The Zoo Authority is the one who places it on the ballot. That's in section 7 of our articles, but section 6 says that we can only do it if you say we can do it. So if we would like to put this back on the ballot, we would be coming to you for approval of doing that again in the future. Once again, the Board of Commissioners has approved it twice in the past at this point. So then we talked about the resident benefits, and this is straight from, we have a contract with the zoo. Our contract is the exact same as the contract that the counties of Macomb and counties of Wayne have. And contractually, this is all that they are obligated to provide. A half school child discount rate of half, free admission to 2 senior days a year with a caregiver also, and then a $10 discount on a family annual membership. Once again, the zoo's going above and beyond that. I will also point out that the zoo works closely with Jim Ellison, your Director of Older Adult Services, and he really tries to coordinate and get people out to the zoo for all the fantastic events that they do. The senior day at the zoo, we've had our zoo meetings there. Our authority actually meets at the zoo. The zoo provides us with space for meeting. And on multiple occasions, we met there the day of the senior outings, and they provide transportation on grounds. It's just a wonderful day seeing people of all generations enjoy the amazing zoo that we have. So like I said, the meetings must be held in Oakland County. We are compliant with the Open Meetings Act, and we are always happy when the zoo hosts. This building is our official home, but we really like to meet in the zoo, to be part of it, to really get the updates from them as we're there. Each year, we have to perform an audit. This is under state law. It's currently conducted by Reuben. We've been with Plant Moran for many years, and just practicing good practices, we changed to make sure that we're getting good audit results. We're not just having the same people look at it over and over again. And they've issued unmodified opinions to us. This is their most recent unmodified opinion that we are conducting ourselves in the way that GSMA expects us to. So then part of our contract with the zoo also includes 2 spots on the Detroit Zoological Society Board of Directors. And each year, this is another change we made. We elect those positions every year from our meeting. For the last handful of years, it's been myself and Jennifer Grigo have been elected to it by our peers. And we're at the DZS meetings to represent the interests of the residents of Royal Oak when they're making decisions on how they're, I'm sorry, I had a city commission meeting late last night. The interests of the residents of Oakland County, including Royal Oak. So we're there to make sure that the decisions the zoo's making reflect well for our residents all across the county. And then we report back to the county at any given time. Also, we are there to advocate for the zoo and the county. An example of that is that 2 years ago, I worked with Congresswoman Haley Stevens' office to help secure $1 million earmark from the federal government for water infrastructure at the zoo. We're about to open Discovery Trails. It's a over $20 million project right now. 7 acres of land has been completely transformed. It's going to have areas where you can touch animals, where you can, there's a zero barrier, all access, walk through a tree, like a set of trees. It is an amazing area that I'll let Dr. Murphy tell you about next week. But that was a very expensive project. And when they opened up the ground, they found an additional $11 million of infrastructure, water infrastructure that was just dilapidated, had to be completely replaced. I know the county worked with them. They worked with the state to get some funding, the Water Resource Commissioner. And then I was able to connect them with Haley Stevens' office, Congresswoman Stevens' office, who was able to secure $1 million earmark for the zoo. So we advocate on behalf of the zoo and the county also. So that's my presentation. Is there any questions I can answer for anyone?
Questions, comments, concerns? Thank you very much. First of all, Commissioner Christensen.
Thank you for coming.
Of course,
I'm a huge supporter of our zoo. I think it's phenomenal.
it is.
We worked very hard on arrangement with the DIA on benefits for Oakland County residents.
Mhm.
If you do come, which I am expecting for you to come for a renewal, I will also be focused on more benefits for the residents. For me to take 2 children to the zoo, it's over $100. It's really expensive.
Yeah.
So that will be my goal, is to try to find other ways that we can help reduce the costs for our residents.
Yeah, if you look at it, you know, this contract was set in 2016 and inflation's happened since then. And I definitely, when Dr. Murphy's here next week and Dr. Halen, these are great conversations that we should start now as we're looking at what the contract's gonna look like as we move forward. I will say that one thing too is once we figure out you know, if we're going to approve a levy or not, the contract actually comes after the millage vote. So we do not have to levy the millage if it's approved unless there's a contract. So that is there's a little bit more of a runway there to make sure that we do have all the benefits that we're looking for.
Oh, Commissioner Julia, sorry.
Yes, thank you for the presentation.
First, Commissioner.
At the very end, you talked about a new feature. If I heard correctly, passed, is this supposed to help alleviate like stormwater, the overflow of water in that area?
Yeah, so they took up 7 acres of land and they, when they opened it up, there was new drainage pipes that went in and water retention that had not been there in the past. And that is above and beyond the infrastructure that they actually had to, there was a drain that had completely collapsed. So they fixed the dilapidated old infrastructure and then they added 7 acres of retention and they actually conformed to Oakland County standards, which had just changed recently, I believe. So the rainwater retention there is going to greatly, once again, I'll put my rural Oak hat back on for a second. We flood all the time, right? We're at the bottom of the Coon Drain, and when it rains, it pours sometimes. So I'm personally looking forward to all those improvements because anything we can do to improve water infrastructure in the county is a huge benefit.
Right, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Woodward. Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Erceg, are you raising your hand?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then you and then Commissioner.
Anemic hand raising, thank you, Chair. You said that the current millage runs through 27. When would it need to go on the ballot for a renewal? Going to be raised?
There are regional discussions about when the millage will go on the ballot. I will say in general, it's always a good idea to put a millage on a ballot before you're at the very end of your millage time. So looking at that would logically say 2026 would be a good year to have a millage on the ballot.
That would be this year, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Woodward.
The water infrastructure question I think is really important, and I mean, I realize it maybe falls a little outside the authority, but as we talk about the solvency of the zoo and the long-term infrastructure needs of the zoo, how old is the infrastructure under the zoo?
The Detroit Zoo is one of the oldest in the nation. It's established. We're about to celebrate 100 years in I think it opened in 1928. So we're very closely coming up on the 100-year anniversary.
Zoo. But I understand that there's infrastructure older than 150 years that's underneath it.
Yeah.
And this is like when they discovered the new park addition and the hookup there, it also opened eyes to other infrastructure needs, and that, I mean, I'm sure that the CEO of the zoo is going to talk a little bit about that. It's a long-term commitment to upgrade that infrastructure, and it's not cheap.
It is not cheap, and the zoo has really been proactive about they want to upgrade the infrastructure. They want to be sustainable, and they want to help with the Coon drainage. I will note also, some of you may remember a handful of years ago, there's a small sinkhole that opened up just outside the zoo that the county assisted with. It's old, it's aging infrastructure. It's been there for a long time. And it's not like our roads that when we improve them, we open them up and we put the new water lines in underneath it. When the concrete asphalt goes in at the zoo, it's been there. It's been untouched until we change habitats, until we reconfigure the zoo. So every handful, every generation, it seems there's a new addition, something new comes up at the zoo. and that's when it can change, but it's a long time to transform it all. So there's definitely backlog of infrastructure projects to be had.
I know there's flooding problems at Rackham. Does that affect the zoo property?
You know, Commissioner, I'm sorry, I don't know, to be honest with you.
Okay,
That backs up to the wolf habitat, different habitats. I'm not 100% sure. I would say, just in my experience in the area, when, water doesn't know geopolitical borders. So when it rains, it gets to all of us.
true. All right, thank you.
Anything else?
So,
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I could just add, once again, our deep thanks to the Board of Commissioners and your staff for all the support that we have. We could not do this without all of your support.
I appreciate it on behalf of them. No, but thank you very much. Thanks for coming to our little agency fair today. All right, next we've got the Oakland County Historical Commission, Dave Decker and Carol Egbo, there you are, I see you both. Papa Squad at the front of the table.
Oh, I get the big chair.
Who's got to talk first?
Well, hello, everyone, and I want to say, first off, thank you very much for letting us come in and update. We have some interesting things happening this year, and where shall we start? What do you think?
Well, first of all, who are we?
Thanks.
I'm Carol Legbo. I'm the longest serving commissioner on the Historical Commission. So I'm the Historical Commissioner of the Historical Commission. I also serve as historian for Oakland County. And Mr. Decker.
And I am Dave Decker, and I am the chair of the Historical Commission, and I am a board member over at the Oakland County Historical Society, and I am a very passionate local history advocate. I love Oakland County, I love its history, I love its dynamism, and I love to celebrate that history because it's a great story. Our commission is made up of 10 people. 9 are voting, 1 is non-voting. We'll talk about him in a moment. We are comprised of a number of, I would say, subject matter experts in areas for local history. We have I'm sure you all have heard of Ron Campbell. He is our architectural historian. He's on our commission. We have a lot of expertise in assisting people with local history and determining what can be done with it. This year last year brought on for the first time a youth ambassador. His name is Warren Yang, and Warren did a steadfast job of harassing the Board of Commissioners. I think he was ready to go to the executive about getting himself connected with our Historical Commission. He has been a dynamic member ever since, and we're very happy to have him. In 2025, our Historical Commission sponsored, and I'm going to just kind of read off a quick list here. We sponsored and exhibited at the local history conference at Oakland University. That gave most of our members a chance to engage with the community and engage with other historical organizations. We will be back at the local history conference coming up at the end of March. I'm not quite sure if we will have a table there this time. We're working on that.
Yes.
We celebrated Juneteenth with the county this year, and we celebrated, we exhibited at the Oakland County Historical Society's annual event, which we will talk about in a few moments. We assisted in organizing 4 History Coalition meetings. The Oakland County History Coalition is a group of local historical societies that the Historical Commission supports to gather and to provide mutual benefit to each other. Carol is the chair of the History Coalition. And we also, I think it was 3 Cemetery Coalition meetings last year. The Oakland County Cemetery Coalition is a group of people interested in local cemeteries and some governmental people. We support both of those organizations in supporting their individual entities. We're involved in what else did we do last year? We work with the county clerk's office. Again, Clerk Brown has been instrumental and Deputy Clerk Miller have been instrumental in helping us understand land records from early Oakland County. They are absolutely fundamental to understanding our history, and we would be lost without them. And their support of our effort, I can't say enough about it, because I'm a land nerd. I love those land records, but they're very, very important. And we continue to work with the Oakland History Center, AKA the Oakland County Historical Society, to support and maintain digital records for the Oak Hill Cemetery, which we were given unprecedented access to last year. This year, coming up, we will be at Juneteenth. We will be at the Oakland History Center's Summer Social, which I strongly advocate all of you attend. I think it will be a really, really fun time this year. We are involved in America 250 events in some fairly minor ways. We support and are listed as sponsors for a number of grant applicants who were awarded or will be awarded a grant this year to celebrate the event. And we are planning some interesting, in conjunction with the History Center, planning some interesting events for celebrating America 250 in July. We are also involved with the Oakland County Circuit Court in celebrating America 250 as they develop their history of the court system for Oakland County, which is really kind of you really have to go down the rabbit hole for that one. It's a very interesting history. And this year we are going to be sponsoring an Oak Hill Adopt a Grave program for that cemetery. I don't know if many of you are aware, but Oak Hill is one of the oldest cemeteries in Oakland County. It has a number of significant burials in it, and it is a county cemetery, even though it's located in Pontiac, because a lot of early county residents are buried there. So it's a fundamental place for our history. And what else I'm now going to turn it over to you and.
I'll just add that we have digitized over 60,000 records of Oak Hill Cemetery and now have a massive database which we'll be making public facing so that we can understand some of the history and not just the names on the stones, but the stories of people. That's my job, is finding out who those people were buried there. And in conjunction with that, we're working on a separate project. My own research is in freedom seekers who utilize the Underground Railroad and are buried in Oak Hill, and a nomination to get Oak Hill Cemetery on the National Network to Freedom of the National Park Service. It's been a long project, but a really important one. Which leads me to, we are in the celebration of Black History Month in Oakland County. We have kicked off last week some activities. We'll continue through the month. So check the county calendar for those. One event, February 25th, I'll be doing a virtual lecture on my research on those freedom seekers in Oakland County. And we will move then into Women's History Month. We have a strong women's history component in Oakland County. Marcia and I worked to identify 50 women involved in the equal suffrage movement. We have a little rose garden right behind this building that commemorates some of those women. So in March, we will celebrate them, and I'll do again a virtual lecture on some of those Oakland County women.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Sure.
Questions, comments? Commissioner Christensen, followed by Commissioner Lutz.
Well, we always get motivated when you come and talk about all the projects you're working on, and we look forward to continuing to work with you. And I also want to point out that you are an accomplished author and have written several books and are an Oakland County nerd, but I would recommend them to anybody that's interested in our history.
And we do have a book called The Amazing Women of Oakland County. I am page 65 through 67. I am not the longest in there. Mary Barra got more pages than me. I'm not on the cover, but it is a fascinating book. You won't believe some of the women for in Oakland County history?
Well, I was, the Meadowbrook Estate and Oakland University are in my district. And that massive swath of land is dominated by Matilda Dodge Wilson, so I
Absolutely.
hope she's in there too.
And she's
Commissioner Loops.
Well, how about someone become involved with the commission? Do you welcome volunteers at your meetings, or where would they call or show up?
I really think there are two ways to do it. The first is to first attend a meeting or two with us and see how we operate. You may not want to. So many rabbit holes. We set up an agenda for a meeting and nobody knows if we're gonna get there in the end. So that would be, yes, we are interested in having people assist us with history and with projects. We have some rather interesting things coming up this year. We have our goal with the Oakland History Center. We're gonna be collaborating with them for America 250 on their summer social, and we hope to make it a countywide event, a much larger event than they've had in the past, to celebrate and to center America 250 and the history of this country. And we wouldn't be a county without it. So yes, that I would think that is. One way is to volunteer through the Historical Commission itself. The other way that I would really advocate is if people are interested in local history, get with your local historical society because they need help. Since COVID, visitation and volunteerism at local historical societies has absolutely tanked. And so bringing support to those organizations is critical in saving our history. We talk often about where is all the local history for Oakland County? Is it, what repositories do we have? Well, it's those local historical societies and we wanna maintain that. So that is, sure.
Commissioner Small.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for all you do. I'm a history nerd. I fall asleep listening to Ken Burns.
Yeah.
Anywho, I wanted to ask about the Historical Coalition because I've been talking with the Madison Heights Historical Society, and they wondered where they could go to get help with. They have a huge collection of artifacts and documents that they haven't, because they're purely a volunteer organization. They don't have the ability, and they were hoping they could reach out. And you mentioned the Historical Coalition. Can any local historical society join that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, or anyone just interested in history. We meet 4 times a year, but I'm always available to work on special projects with the coalition. So it's open to all societies and museums. The idea is to come together and share common issues and problems. I usually do a little piece of history at each of the one on how you do history. We also have connections with the Michigan Library, our Michigan Library, who has a new digitization project where they loan out equipment for digitization and even train people. So I brought that group to the coalition meeting, but I can still connect people with those folks at our state library.
I'm gonna connect you because they
Do that, please.
they are very eager, but they need help, so.
Right, we will welcome them.
They
Great.
just recently began a strong Facebook presence
Yes,
celebrating their history. I've been
Yeah.
watching them
Kevin Wright is really taking that under his wing and
doing really well
that.
with that. It's
Um,
great stuff.
Margene Scott is the chair, I believe, of their historical commission, so.
Great.
She should be in that book, Amazing Women of Oakland County, if she's not.
There's gonna be a second volume.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you very much.
Additional questions, comments? My question, and this we might have to offline, but none of us were on the board when the Historical Commission was set up, I wanna say in the 70s, by county ordinance, which I think is wildly odd, because we don't do hardly anything through county ordinance, but this was established through 2 different ordinances. So I'm curious if you do know, like, what was the general culture that created that need for a standalone historical commission for Oakland County?
I think it's the context of the bicentennial of the country had passed, and the management or the leadership of Oakland County went, Wow, we dropped the ball on that one and ended up, that's my basic take. I think that after the bicentennial of the country, there was a stronger interest in history and in celebrating it. Oakland County has had over its time, two historical books published through the county or through county efforts. One in 1877 and one in 1970. So it has kind of been, in my view, I think the county didn't understand how to celebrate that early history, and I think they chartered a historical commission partly to celebrate that bicentennial, but as part of celebrating the bicentennial, they had gathered a great deal of information together and they needed a way to manage that. And I think that was part of the process.
Awesome, thank you. Anything else? All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming.
And we're available, I mean, I can hand out business cards, but we're certainly available at any time. So, thank you.
It's true, and actually for colleagues, if you have thoughts about history, Commissioner Markham has recently launched a study group about history in Oakland County, so talk to her about that. That concludes our little festival of authorities. Just kind of open discussion question, did we like that? Should we do that annually? Should they change things? Do you want to have it's valuable?
Good idea.
Do we have a
Same meeting.
yes. Awesome. All right, moving on then to section 8. We've got 3 items for the Board of Commissioners recommendations. I would entertain a motion to recommend item 8A to the board, moved by Commissioner Lubes, and seconded by Commissioner Erickson Galt. We are going to have a presenter on 8A, but I'm the sponsor, so I'll go ahead and present it. All right, so this is a resolution in support of 3 bills in the Michigan State Senate right now that are all related to federal immigration enforcement and what they can and cannot do in the state of Michigan. I will openly lament that we don't meet more frequently because it has felt like forever since things got beyond tragic. I think with how immigration enforcement has been conducting their enforcement activities, and my heart has weighed tremendously heavy as a human being, as an American, as someone in government, and yeah, it's been really sad. It's been very sad. So this is the first meeting of any Board of Commissioners committee, and the board as a full board has not met and will not until next Thursday. But this is just the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee. So I wanted to take a chair's prerogative and introduce a resolution that could do something. Now, I will say, because I know we've got a lot of folks in the room, this is just the Legislative Affairs Committee. There is a whole Public Safety Committee that meets right after this. And I think a lot of this issue is a public safety issue. A lot of this issue is a facilities issue, and facilities reports to our Economic Development and Public Infrastructure Committee, which meets tomorrow morning. And I am only able, per our board rules, to introduce something today because I am the chair of this committee. And I am proud to introduce this today, but I think that this is, and this is just me as a commissioner talking, I think that this is a small first step in actually engaging what Oakland County can do on this situation. And frankly, I would like to see more. I know that other local and county governments around Michigan, around the country are doing more. And I know that we are investigating what all we can do legally, what all we are able to do policy-wise. But this is what I proffer for today, for our Legislative Affairs Committee. Commissioner Lewis.
Would you like to read it aloud so everyone's aware of the actual resolution?
Happy to do that. It's not that long. Whereas the Michigan Legislature introduced Senate Bills 508, 509, and 510 to enhance public safety, transparency, accountability, and civil liberties with respect to immigration enforcement in the state of Michigan. And whereas testimony and analysis from community advocates and policy organizations indicate these bills would support the safety and dignity of immigrant and refugee communities in Michigan, maintain access to essential services, and help protect families from fear or trauma associated with enforcement actions in sensitive community spaces. Whereas Senate Bill 508 would restrict certain immigration enforcement actions in designated sensitive locations such as educational institutions, places of worship, houses, hospitals, courthouses, and organizations assisting vulnerable populations except with a judicial warrant or when necessary to address imminent public safety threats. And such protections can help ensure individuals can access critical public services without fear of enforcement action on site. And whereas Senate Bill 509 would prohibit government entities from disclosing personal identifying information for purposes of federal immigration enforcement without a court-issued warrant, thus protecting the privacy rights of residents and encouraging trust in public institutions. And whereas Senate Bill 510 would require law enforcement officers to wear identifiable uniforms and prohibit masks or personal disguises while interacting with the public in the performance of their duties, subject to narrowly defined exceptions to improve transparency and accountability. Now therefore be it resolved that the Oakland County Board of Commissioners hereby strongly supports Senate Bill 508 and formally condemns the unwarranted conduct of civil immigration enforcement activities in sensitive religious, civic, and healthcare locations. Be it further resolved that Oakland County Board of Commissioners hereby strongly supports Senate Bill 509 and 510 and formally upholds the civil liberties, rights, and rule of law guaranteed to residents in the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Michigan. Be it further resolved that the Oakland County Clerk Register of Deeds is requested to forward copies of this adopted resolution to the Governor of the State of Michigan, the Michigan Senate Leader, the Michigan Speaker of the House, members of the Oakland County Delegation, and the Michigan Association of Counties, and that the lobbyist of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners be directed to lobby accordingly.
Thank you.
Questions, comments, discussion, Commissioner?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that this is one small step, and I agree. It's there's hopefully a lot more that we can do as a county to protect our residents, and we're definitely continuing to look into that. I know that there are a lot of people who've come here today to express their concern, which probably I share most or all of your concerns. Our federal immigration authorities have been, somebody near and dear to me described this today as attempting to conduct lawful activities in an unlawful manner. And that's what really offends me about what's happening. We do have immigration laws in place, and they do control who has a right to be in this country. And we do have a federal authority that has some right to enforce those laws. But the manner in which they've been enforcing it in the last year has been astoundingly, frighteningly wrong. And I would like to see our county do what it can to protect our not just our citizens, but our residents, our legal residents who have a legal right to be here. I want to make sure that people get their due process. I want to make sure that people are not snatched up off the streets without judicial warrants. I'm not sure what on that list we can do legally. I know we're looking into seeing what authority we as a county body have to do that. But to the extent that we have the authority to do that, I would love to see us enact another resolution in addition to this that would have a little bit more oomph to a little more teeth into it, a little bit more ability to provide that level of protection that our residents of the county want to see happen. So to all of those who are here to comment, no, I'm with you in principle. It's simply a matter of figuring out what we can and cannot do, and I want to see us do everything that we can do.
so.
Thank you. Commissioner Christensen.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. I agree with you and am in support of many of the residents in this room, and thank you for taking the time to come out. About a month or two ago, I was contacted by Stephanie Kreider and Lisa Denny, who work with a group called Undivided. And they asked me to set up a meeting with the sheriff's office, which I did. And we held a meeting in this room with the undersheriff, who was incredibly open and honest, and there were about 10 other members of the community. Apparently, Undivided has a task force that is very focused on this issue, and they selected residents to come. And I just wanted everybody to know that a better way of contacting us is to call us directly, call your commissioner directly, rather than send 100 emails with the same message, the exact same message. We heard it and we actually are in support, many of us are in support of it. So I would encourage you to know who your commissioners are, to reach out to them and tell them what you want to see, rather than present us with a resolution, which it's our job to do. But certainly to present us with your ideas and what you'd like to see happen, and we could have a discourse. And we may have discouraged you from coming to this committee and encouraged you to go to a different committee, but we didn't have a great dialogue. So use this as an opportunity to find out who your commissioners are and to contact them and to talk to them about issues that concern you. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Williams.
What was the outcome of the meeting?
So they now, anyone that has a concern about ice, let's say in Waterford, taking at a school, I was called and I directly called the sheriff's office. They sent out a car immediately. And I have to say, over 90% of the calls were misunderstood calls, that people are so afraid, they're so frightened that they thought something was happening that wasn't, or the cars dispersed by the time the police got there. But this group has a direct line now to the Undersheriff Willis, who removed me from that chain of conversation. So some members of that group have Undersheriff's cell phone, and they have contacted him, and he's responded pretty immediately.
So the outcome is, if there's any concern, to call the sheriff's office.
Well, and in particular, before I mention the undersheriff, I'd want to double check with him, but that was the agreement he left that meeting with, that he wanted to know, he wanted to hear from people. And I think that this Undivided group has a chain of command where certain people make that call. And there were calls made and he responded pretty quickly. I was informed about the result, within 20 minutes to a half hour.
Thank you.
Mr. Jordan.
I too had talked to Under Sheriff Willis, and he was very forthcoming in the phone calls that he's received, and they're right on investigating. And to your point, there seems to be a lot of miscommunication going on, but he said it's their job to investigate, and they do investigate, so I appreciate that. And I appreciate your effort to put something on here to try to move this was very passionate to you, to the group, forward. This just came on. I haven't had time to vet these, so I'm gonna be a no right now. It doesn't mean I might change my mind before the board meeting, but I need time to vet these, so.
Thank you, Brendan, for bringing this forward, and I also support this effort. There's gotta be a kinder and gentler way, the way the federal government is doing this. We all know that if you don't learn from history, it'll repeat itself. An end does not justify the means. But I also am very concerned about Congress. They're like surrendering their authority and responsibility to one person, and I think that is wrong. And another unintended consequence is some of these actions by the federal government and ICE is that affects our own sheriff department and local units of government. Because if you start losing respect on a larger scale, it's gonna impact them and it's gonna make them harder to do their job too. So I do support this and I think that, you know, if you took a poll, I think we're pretty much all on the same page across the country about, you know, we must all follow the rule of law. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Taylor.
Obviously, I'll just go on record as saying I'm in support as well. Thank you for bringing this forward. Absolutely. I mean, it just goes without saying. I just appreciate the effort that you're putting forth. And it is a start, and I appreciate all your comments too. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Motion on the table is to recommend to the full board. Quickly come to vote.
Of course. You're so scared of me.
We have 7 yeas and 1 nay.
Thank you very much. Motion passes, it's been referred to the board. All right, we've got 2 more issues today. The first is item 8B, and this one is reminder, it's a postponement from the last Delago meeting that we had. We wanted to hear a little bit about all of our agencies, but I believe the motion was to reappoint that we postponed. Correct me on my Parlay Pro, is that still on the table then, the motion? I think so. Do we want to discuss the motion then? Oh, it's not still on the table?
No,
Oh,
the
okay.
motion's not.
Got it. Well, would anyone like to make the motion? I'll do Commissioner Lubes and Commissioner Joliet supporting. Any,
I would motion that we reappoint Ms. Burris to the committee and give her an opportunity to actually work with the committee.
yeah, that's a good motion. With no other discussion, we can prompt that vote whenever you're ready.
Eight yeas, 0 nays.
Awesome, thank you very much. And then item C, a lot of homework I asked you all to do, and I appreciate the time that you spent doing it all. This is two appointments to OCHN. Pam, did you just want to kind of give an overview on the applications that we received and filing through them? And then I know I asked all of you to look through those and have 5 names ready so that we can, hopefully there's a good Venn diagram and we're not asking 30 people to do interviews with us at our next LAGO meeting, but
Yeah, so today, you're gonna try to narrow down the 32 applications we received to hopefully appoint a primary. We need a primary to fill the statutory requirements. And we advertised for 1 primary and 1 general public. There is a spreadsheet that I included in there with, I went through all the applications, I may have made some notes on some. And there are qualifications and exclusions, which are listed in the analysis document that I provided. Let's see. They have to be a county resident and 18 years or older, no more than half maybe state, county, or local officials. And then they cannot be employed by Michigan Department of Community Health or Oakland Community Health Network. They may not be a party to a contract with the OCHN or administering or benefiting financially from a contract with the OCHN. And they may not serve in a policy-making position with an agency. So you'll notice some of the applications we received, they applied for different categories. The general public category is flexible for you, like if you see an applicant that you're like, I really am interested in learning more about this person, but they applied for, say, working in a mental health, capacity or one of the other categories, you can appoint, the only thing that's really statutorily required is to have one more primary consumer. And a primary consumer is someone who is currently receiving services for mental health. So,
Thank you. I appreciate it. And we've also got Dennis, and I'm sorry.
I'm Sheila Barrett.
Sheila, I'm so sorry. From OCHN to just kind of, we've done this before, if you could just give us an overview on the flavor makeup of the board and what you would like to see in augmenting the current board makeup.
Okay, thank you very much for having me this morning. So first of all, we have an excellent board. We are statutorily required to fill different slots. The two that are open right now is person served. And that was previously held, and I wanna just mention, we lost one of our board members, Kaya Newman, just around Christmas time. You reappointed her 6 times. She was the institutional memory and quite frankly, the spirit of our board. She was a tremendous person. We miss her dearly. So whoever gets that appointment is gonna fill some big shoes. Now, she also happened to be someone who's involved in anti-stigma and did an excellent job in that professionally. So that's a person that's an important role, person served. We have another board member, Adam Furman, who also is a person served. And that really gives us a great perspective from understanding people who are being served and sharing that with the board. So that is definitely an important position. In terms of the general public, certainly we want someone who's interested in what we do and the 30,000 people we serve, as well as their families. So we look for someone who has an advocacy background that will want to advocate on behalf of those 30,000 individuals that we serve. And by the way, one small thing, if you hadn't heard, and this is excellent news, we just heard recently that the state dropped the RFP, which many of us were concerned was a way to privatize a large portion of the mental health services. So that was in litigation, and as a result of that litigation and some decisions the judge made, it got dropped. And we're very pleased because that removes a huge cloud over our operations, because we have about 250 employees. Nobody knew what their future was gonna be, but everybody stuck to it, and so we're very pleased with that development. So we kind of have that cloud removed so we can really concentrate on the operations and moving forward. And the board, of course, we're a policy-making board. So I think someone from the general public who would be a good advocate, who knew maybe a little bit about us and what we do, that would be very helpful. And like I said, we have independent voices on the board, like you do on your board of commissioners. You know, we understand that. And we just had a meeting last night and we had some very, very good discussion. But I think that's part of the mix of, you know, like you do, we have to make decisions at the end of the day. And it affects people, and we're very cognizant of that. So that's just my overview, and if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Yeah, any questions for leadership?
And by the way, Dana, unfortunately, she's under the weather and we told her to stay home because we didn't want anybody else to get sick. You know, it's that time of year, everybody's got the flu or bug. So Sheila works with Dana, is her key executive assistant. So we had Sheila come along.
Thank you, Sheila. Thanks, Dennis. All right, discussion for you all. Open the floor.
Are you looking for names at this point?
I can.
To throw out to ask to return to interview?
Sure. Yeah, that interviewing at the next meeting is definitely my intention.
It's March 3rd.
March 3rd. Yeah. Commissioner Erickson Galvin.
Yeah, so I had a question based on, I think, your notes, Pam. There was one applicant who did say that, yes, she was an employee in a non-policy making position with the agency under contract with OCHN. If I understand correct, that it essentially makes that person ineligible to serve, correct?
Yeah, unless something changed, we get clarification that they're not. Perhaps Sheila, you might know the person.
There's actually two, actually, I am not correct. I see another person on the list who also said that they were an employee of an agency under contract with Osage.
One said that they would like resign to be on this.
A note on filtering, we filtered out automatically anyone who does not meet the geographic requirement, but we left in anyone else. So yeah, I think there are some questionable applicants, but.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that, and I think this is a lot of really good information. I guess the question is, and I just don't know, it's not clear what's the organization that they work for, but if there's an organization that receives grant funding to do these services and that person's not paid through that in any sort of way, I guess the question is does that automatically exclude, like if you, I don't know, I'm just saying, if you do janitorial services that's not paid by the OCHN contract, the OCHN contract pays to provide services to these 100 clients. Is that an automatic exclusion? Basically, if an organization like might receive a grant to do a program that a team of people work on, but if that person's not part of that team, is not paid by that team in any sort of way, and that there's assurance that that's not the case. What is that?
Oh, I don't know the answer, but I will posit my philosophy, which is that like this is maybe something that we should, hey, if we're not comfortable with it, let's not do it. We're under no obligation to do things that we're meh about, so we don't have to. Any other questions? Names then. Commissioner Loops.
Leah McCall, Nicholas Cadgen, Nicole Quant, Demetria Starling. And on our list, we have 3 people as primary consumers who have applied. One may be limited due to occupation, but if we're interviewing, we might be interested in interviewing the people who applied as a primary consumer also.
I got 3 of your names. Could you repeat them again?
Leah McCall, Nicholas Cadgen, Nicole Quant, Demetria Starling.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
I would also throw April Switala in there for going for 5, but those are general public positions.
Okay. Commissioner Gershenson.
I wanted to recommend Christine Berg.
Okay. Anyone else? Commissioner Joliet.
I wanted to recommend Craig Brown for general.
Second. Is it a formal second then? Yeah. Well, I'm taking tallies, so did you want to add that as tally then?
Yeah, it's one of mine, and agreed.
Anyone else for you?
No.
Anyone else for you?
I wanted to add Farah Khan.
Okay.
And Milana Jones. Who was that on there? I was.
You don't have to have
General.
5. 3 is fine. Good. Anyone else? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 interviews so far. Okay.
Are we just doing the general public position now, or?
Oh, this is just kind of anyone on the list. Yeah.
Because I was going to say that for the primary consumer,
Yeah.
I did like both Cyril Davis and Jacqueline Sullivan, and I'm uncomfortable. I like Pepper Cat, but I'm uncomfortable with the fact that she works for an agency under contract with OCH.
I'll say I am too.
I would support that.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
So I'm not sure if you guys are aware of it, but so does Adam Furman, who's currently serving as our primary consumer on our board. He also works for agency.
Interesting.
Well, I wouldn't move on him. He's there, he's doing good, right?
I mean, he's excellent, but I don't want you to defer, you know what I mean, not consider that because of that, because we do currently have that on our board.
I still feel the way that I feel. And since there are only 2 others, I wouldn't mind having both of them come in. Is that what you were gonna say, or?
No, I was gonna say, I had two names.
Oh,
One for each category, but go
What's-
ahead with your thought. No, the one was the Cyril Davis
Okay.
for the primary, and for my general public, I would say Rhonda Wilson. That was that's all.
Got it. Okay.
I liked her too.
Anything else? Okay, I will take this as permission then to work on scheduling those. We'll try to do the same way we've done it for the last few years and try to keep it tight. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we were doing 7 minutes apiece, with some coffee.
Or did you want to eliminate some and just narrow it down so it's not so long?
We can. I didn't want to fight back against any of your suggestions, though. I mean, this is already quite narrowed down from the full list.
30
So
That's true, that's true.
But if people aren't available, that usually happens where 2 or so people aren't available. We'll see.
Okay.
Cool. March 3rd is our next meeting then.
Sheila has a question.
Sure, yes. So that is Craig Brown of Clarkson, Christine Burke of Ortonville, Cyril Davis of Troy, Milana Jones of Pontiac, Nicholas Cashton of Royal Oak, Farah Khan of Northville, Leah McCall of Pontiac, Nicole Quant of Oakland Township,
Let it go.
Demetrius Starling of West Bloomfield, and April Swatala of Commerce Township. Oh, and Rhonda Wilson of Lathrop Village. Oh, I missed that one. Okay. Oh, yes, you are right. Yep. Cool.
Can I say one more?
Yeah, please, Sheila, yeah.
Yeah, so when considering this, the time commitment for board members, I just wanna remind this board that it's 3 meetings a month. And each meeting is usually typically held the second Monday, third Tuesday, fourth Thursday, and they're usually 2 to 3 hour meetings. And they're all in the evening. So when considering that kind of commitment, I think the board would appreciate.
I recall Commissioner Gershenson said to me when I was interviewed, she said, do you have time for this? I was working full-time at that time, but it is busy. We have some also committee work like you do and things of that nature. So it does require a time commitment and people have to be aware of that, just to be fair to them.
100%.
You know, going up. And I also want to acknowledge Christina Root has been an excellent board member. Unfortunately, her professional circumstances, whatever, she's not able to renew, but I just want to acknowledge and thank you for her appointment. She was certainly an independent voice,
Yes.
and she also is a clinician, so she had a great perspective on a number of issues we have to deal with. So thank you for sending her our way, and we hope we can find someone to fill her shoes also. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, so on that point, there might be some of these individuals that just does not work for their schedule, so communicating that before having them come in saves everybody time.
Did you hear that, Pam?
He just said.
Actually, Pam's the only one that needs to hear what I just said. No, I just said that we should probably just be proactive and communicate, this is when they meet, and if you're not able to meet, thank you for your interest, but this is when the positions meet. And there might be, out of a list that long, I'm gonna guess there's at least one person that's not gonna fit, so.
I do think that's on, I mean, I remember we had made like a questionnaire and that was one of the.
Yes.
Oh, it is, oh,
Yeah,
perfect,
Yeah.
well, that's already,
But that's
we've already
when we
communicated
interview,
that.
but
Right.
if we're
Do it
appointing,
proactive.
we're calling now.
That's a good point.
That's a
Yep.
good point.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all your help.
Yep. All right, that concludes our regular agenda then today and moving us on to public comment. So we've never had this much public comment at the Legislative Affairs Government Operations Committee. Is this everyone? Okay, cool. So I've got a lot of names and when you are called, and I know we've got folks in the cafeteria, are they watching or,
We'll be setting them up in batches once room clears out
okay.
a little bit. We'll be setting back people in batches to them.
Do they know what order they're in based on this or, okay, cool. It's all right.
People heads up.
Cool.
Yes.
Well, oh, bless, thank you so much. Yeah, we can break for a second. Do you wanna make she's gonna make copies of the list so we can organize the cafeteria exchange with this room. Everyone, take a few seconds to do whatever. We'll be right back.
It is, right, it's this meeting. Yeah.
I need one more. I assumed the quorum was in the room. Well, I can.
Oh, here we go. Here you go.
There we go. I need 5. I thought it was just 4.
We're here.
Oh, well, there we go. All right, calling this meeting back to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Harrison Gall. Here. Juliet. Here. Gershenson. Here. Lubes. Taylor. Here. Hoffman.
Present.
Johnson.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, we're going to do public comment. So I'm going to read names in order to the best that I can. The sheriff's deputies have told me that they're just going to start bringing folks up in groups. They may not be in order. So we're gonna start out with kind of good sense, but then it might devolve into whatever happens, happens. You'll just bear with me. Also, as a general note, if you don't want to speak, please let me know. If you're under no obligation to take all 3 minutes, whatever's good. I will strictly enforce 3 minutes though, because the Public Safety Committee was supposed to start at 10:30, and as it looks now, we've got an hour and a half of public comment. So that's that. We'll start off with Barbara Winter. Please join us at the front of the table. You've got 3 minutes. Start with your name and your residential city.
Hey, hi, my name is Barbara Winter. I'm a resident of Hazel Park, and I'm here on my own time. On September 20th, 1939, my grandmother was giving birth to my aunt in Warsaw under the hospital bed when Hitler and his Nazis were actively bombarding the city. My aunt, unbeknownst to herself, became the perfect cover for my grandmother to carry information from capital to opposition forces in the South. We're not there. I want to be very clear about it, but history teaches us that the erosion of rights rarely arrive all at once. It begins with fear, with silence, and with the idea that some people are less worthy of protection than others. Black Americans, LGBTQ Americans, and many minorities know exactly what I am talking about because they have lived, and in many ways still live, the reality of double standards under the law and daily life. The actions of ICE today raise serious questions about how we decide who is its right immigrant and who is sent to a detention facility. And it's not an abstract for me. While I was in the process of getting my US green card, I lost privileges remain in the Czech Republic, the country I was born, because my parents chose Polish citizenship for me. So there I was, kicked out of the country where I grew up, and still in the process to stay in the country where I hope to build my future. Just a couple weeks ago, my headlights burned out. I felt uneasy driving with one working light because I worried that a simple traffic stop might spiral into something I could not control. And I know I'm white, and I know if I keep my mouth shut, I am usually not the target. So I cannot imagine, despite having big imagination, how people of color, many of whom are citizens and here legally, can feel every day. An American friend recently told me, just carry your passport or citizenship certificate with you and you will be fine. Are you kidding me? My grandmother was carrying papers and she was stopped, questioned and interrogated countless times. Papers did not equal safety. This is why the county has a role to play. Civil immigration enforcement is federal responsibility, but our county controls its own buildings, own spaces, and the trust people have when they walk into them. Clinics, courts, public meetings. These must be places where residents feel safe seeking services and participating in civil life. Passing a resolution that prevents ICE from conducting civil immigration enforcement in county facilities will not stop everything. It will not stop federal policy, but it will say something meaningful about who we are and what we stand for. First, they came for the socialists. and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a socialist. Then they came for trade unionist, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't Jew. Then they came for me, and there was nobody left to speak for me. Today we have the chance to speak, to act, to ensure that our county buildings remain places of dignity, safety, and trust for everyone who calls Oakland County home. If ever there was a time to take a stand, it would be now. Thank you.
Jennifer Smielewski.
Great job. Good morning, I'm Jen Smielewski. I am a resident of Orion Township, which is Commissioner Gingel's district. I'm gonna amend my comments a little bit to address one thing I heard you say. I appreciate your recommendation that we call first. My calls have not been returned, so I am here. I am here today to advocate for all residents of this county and remind each of us of the very foundation this country is built upon. The Declaration of Independence states that we all have certain inalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It does not identify socioeconomic status, skin color, or birthplace as factors limiting these basic rights. The preamble to the Constitution clearly delineates the purpose of the Union is to establish justice, ensure domestic peace, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for all. In ratifying the Constitution, the founders included the Bill of Rights to limit the power of government, not to limit the rights of those governed. With intentionality, specific provisions, such as the Fifth Amendment's guarantee for due process, were designed to protect all who enter. We are witnessing firsthand a train of abuses designed to reduce the status, the very humanity of our friends and neighbors in a manner not only contrary to the roots of this constitutional republic, but in direct violation of protections written into the law of the land. These actions create a culture of fear, a culture that will take decades to undo. Residents should be able to trust those in positions of authority. We cannot trust ICE or those dictating their directions. We do not want this fear to trickle into the way Oakland County officials and residents interact with one another. Commissioners, you have an opportunity to serve and protect the people of Oakland County beyond seeking access to the Detroit Institute of Arts and the Detroit Zoo. You have an obligation to support the laws that you swore an oath to uphold. That obligation carries with it the burden of standing up to others who would cast aside the rights of our residents, our friends, our neighbors. Will you choose to stand up? When portions of the government target people based on race, gender, birthplace, or religion, will you then stand up? When portions of the government violate state and federal laws, operating behind masks without identification, without constitutionally required warrants and processes, will you then stand up? When portions of the government unlawfully detain our friends and neighbors in concentration camps in deplorable and unsafe conditions and deport them without due process, will you then stand up? When portions of the government physically harm and even murder people in our streets for exercising the rights provided to them by the Constitution, will you then stand up? When portions of government act egregiously, it becomes the duty of the rest of government to step in and step up, to advocate for the downtrodden, the tired, the poor. It is up to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners to adopt a more specific resolution protecting the rights of all the residents of this county, to preserve the peace, to prevent those who believe they are above the law from destroying what has been built here, a beautiful yet imperfect mosaic of different faiths, skin colors, beliefs, and birthplaces.
Robin McGregor, Waterford, Michigan. I appreciate that this resolution was passed, but it's not the state's job to take care of the county. We know it's gonna take time to go through the House and through the Senate, and in the meantime, in Waterford alone, in Waterford, I personally know of 10 people who are legal residents that are in detention camps. This commission would not use the word genocide. Right now, I believe we're living in a genocide. my neighbors that I have to take food to make sure that their families are safe is something I never thought I would live in Oakland County. For kids to be afraid to go to school, their wives afraid to go out of the house. And yes, Marcia, they've been in Waterford. I've called on ICE 3 times, and it's funny, they're right outside of Mott High School and in between Durant. Why are they at the only high school that is on a major road? When I stopped and asked what they needed, because in my area, I usually don't see masked men. The fact that ICE believes that they do not have to even pretend to be like our law enforcement in Oakland County. Waterford Police came out, told me the Oakland County Sheriffs weren't part of any of that, don't worry about it. We take care of our own. I'm not seeing anybody taking care of their own. It's interesting, the Mott students just did a protest on Friday, and I had more people out there with these young people protesting that wanted different pieces and that were harassing the students. We are coming into a different way. We need to stand as Oakland County saying we believe in our democracy. As a child, I protested in middle school for the Vietnam War, wore a POW bracelet. I had to, as a child of 7 years old, going out with my mother to fight for women's rights. The civil rights piece. This is part of who we are. Show them what Oakland County is. I'm looking at each and every one of your faces and who you are and what you believe in. I know this is hard, but don't let the state, wait on the state to do something. You need to do it better. Make it more of who we are and how we can make that difference for these people. If we have 10 in Waterford, we have 61 communities in Oakland County. How many people have been arrested that shouldn't be? 2.1%, the report just came out from people that have been arrested. It's been either homicide, kidnapping, or rape. Most of the crimes are DUI, assault, burglary. Those are non-violent. Assault is a violent crime, but burglary isn't. If I have a ticket for a headlight, she said, thank you for your time. Please make a difference. And I need to say that I can call my county commissioner, she does answer.
Steve Hansen.
Good morning, I'm Steve Hansen. I am from Waterford. I'm here speaking about ICE and CBP issues. I've been a practicing lawyer for 25 years. I've spent the last several months researching the laws and rules that govern the conduct of ICE and CBP, and also the laws and rules that govern what states and local communities can do in response to that.
Steve, could I just, I'm sorry, I will give you your time back. I just, as a note for the room, if you have already spoken, if you don't mind relinquishing your seat, because we're gonna keep filing people in here. So we need places to put them. Thank you very much, though. All right.
So, because it's not part of my practice, but because of what's been going on, I spent a lot of time researching the laws and rules that govern the statute they operate under, the regs they operate under, the Supremacy Clause challenges in California to the mask law, litigation in Minnesota filed by the state, cities of St. Paul and Minneapolis. So I have some familiarity. You're asking what you can do at the county level. You don't have to let them use your resources is what you can do. You have to comply with judicial warrants. You have to comply with federal law, but you don't have to let them stage operations in parking lots or on county property. And that's what the resolution that was sent from 100 of us or so was about. Now, obviously you have your own lawyers that'll have to help you navigate the line on the Supremacy Clause, but I'm pretty sure that resolution is well on the good side of the right side of the line with respect to the Supremacy Clause. So what do we really want? We don't want ICE and CBP conducting enforcement operations on county property. We don't want them using county resources unless they're there for the judicial warrant. That's one thing. We also don't want anybody in the county entering into what's called a 287G agreement with any agency in the county. That makes that agency an adjunct of DHS and acting as de facto immigration officers. We don't want that to happen. We want prohibition against that. The county has an agreement between DHS and the county with respect to the use of a database called CLEMIS, which gives DHS access to extensive data about all the citizens of the county. That predates the current regime's campaign of terror, but that agreement ends on March 31st of this year. We would like it to end permanently because, among other things, if you look at the Minnesota litigation, DHS has shown a willingness to dox constitutional protesters if they're given access to that kind of information. We do not want that to happen. And in addition, we'd like to see, we have an understanding, is there a fund that can be used to provide money for legal aid to immigrants and some housing insecurity or food insecurity. We'd like to do that as well. I appreciate the support for the bills as they are. The bills are nice, but let's face it, they're gonna die in the House with Republican control in all likelihood, so it's nothing more than a symbolic gesture. On top of it, if you read the bills, they do nothing to restrict the access, virtually nothing to restrict the access of ICE and CBP to county facilities, so they're no way to substitute for the resolution that was provided to all of you. So, you know, look, I don't want county property used to traumatize residents, and I don't want my tax dollars going to this, so please use the power you have and use it wisely. Thanks.
Ann Lehman?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm encouraged to hear that you want us to talk to our county commissioners, but I fear Bob is gonna wanna change his phone number after hearing from me as often as I will be talking to you. Anyway, good morning. My name is Ann Lehman. I'm from Davisburg. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm here as an Oakland County resident to speak in support of the recent proposal that you've been sent. The original resolution is about one core principle. People must feel safe accessing essential county services without fear. The original proposal given to you simply affirms that county buildings exist for all residents to safely access services in all aspects of civil life. When federal immigration enforcement operates on county or municipal property, it can have a chilling effect. People stop reporting crimes. Parents hesitate to enroll their kids in programs. Workers avoid health clinics. Survivors of domestic violence stay silent. That doesn't make our county safer. It breeds fear. It makes all of us unsafe and erodes trust in our institutions. But what's more deeply disturbing is to find out that ICE is paying Oakland County for a citizens database that the county maintains. Should the county commissioners just go along with this agreement and not use its power to protect its citizens? Should you just send the proposal to the legislature, knowing full well it would be dead on arrival? In essence, you're just giving carte blanche to ICE to use county property as they see fit. Our local government's role is to serve its residents, not to act as an extension of the federal immigration enforcement. Local law enforcement and county agencies are most effective when they have trust in the community. When residents believe that interacting with county services could put them at risk, that trust breaks down. Once trust is broken, it's incredibly hard to rebuild. Our public spaces exist to help people, not harm them. Oakland County Commissioners need to prioritize public safety, community stability, and responsible governance. You need to send a clear message that our county values dignity, fairness, and the well-being of all who live here. This is about practical governance, which includes never entering into a 287G agreement with ICE to ensure we create a community where people feel secure enough to show up, speak up, and participate. It also means not renewing your contract with Clemens when it expires at the end of March of this year. Leadership isn't about the easiest path. It's about choosing the right one. It's about standing up and saying, we believe everyone deserves to feel safe where they work, live, and raise their families. I encourage you to do the right thing.
Heather Radcliffe.
Hi, my name's Heather Radcliffe Sedro and I'm a resident of Farmington. I'm not as knowledgeable as some of the other people, but I know that I'm afraid. And I'm a white citizen, so I can't imagine what some other people may be feeling right now. But I really agree that ICE should have a judicial warrant in order to be on Oakland County property. My children aren't white, so I fear for them. My husband is a citizen, but he's not white, he's not from this country. So I just wonder, what could happen. I know that if ICE seems to sow chaos, and how are we going to do our business in Oakland County when chaos is ensuing? They sow fear. I know that if I saw in the news that ICE had been at an Oakland County building without a judicial warrant, I would be afraid to come and do my business, because they've killed citizens before. So, like I said, I'm not as knowledgeable as some of the other people, but I just know that I do follow the news. And I do believe that they should need a judicial warrant. Thank you.
Sarah?
Good morning, commissioners, citizens, and non-citizens. My name is Sarah Redmond. I live in Rochester Hills, and I have a few comments that I want to make. For those of us that have been around politics a while, there's a saying, all politics is local. It doesn't get much more local than this, although I was on a board of trustees for a township with 250 people, so that's really local. So all politics is local. It is, but all politics is also international. I wear this Palestinian scarf because I want you all to understand what is happening in Palestine, in the West Bank, was the training ground for what is happening in the streets of America right now. What has been done to the Palestinian people has been brought home to Minneapolis, and we need to stop it now, or we will continue to see people of color, citizens, non-citizens continue to be grabbed. And I want to encourage the Board of Commissioners to follow the route of Washtenaw County and pass their resolution. I agree, and I think it's great that Brennan and you all are going to support those bills, but again, it's DOA because it doesn't have a chance of passing anything. I also want to make sure that our sheriff, the sheriff's office does not enable bad policing and terrorizing of our communities. A warrant? Yes. A warrant for a serious crime. A warrant for traffic violations that you're going to destroy somebody's life? I don't agree with that. I think that we as citizens need to hold our government accountable, and we need to have all residents in this country treated equally. Thank you.
We've got Dallas Oliver, sorry about that. No, it's fine.
You can't speak either.
Commissioner Erickson Galt.
My name is Dallas Oliver. I am from Berkeley. And I'm here, a little off script because I think that Germany in the 30s, they built little concentration camps by small towns. And they had Gestapo. And we have now the Gestapo that answers only to the orange leader. And he is all of your enemy. It's a very dangerous time, and just do everything you can to stop it and resist. So thank you.
Next is Tamara Kayad. Sorry, I butchered that, followed by Megan Callahan.
Good morning, my name is Tamara Kayud, I reside in the city of Clarkston. I came this morning simply to express my disgust and outrage with everything we are seeing with ICE activity. I presume them to be government-funded terrorists. I don't have the words to express how truly horrific and terrorizing this all is, and I realize that is the point. We have continually watched them violate our rights, our constitutional rights. They are trampling on them. We saw them execute 2 American citizens last month, and there has still not been any accountability for that. There have been no arrests. This is just the beginning. If they are allowed to run unfettered into our communities, we watched the little boy Liam Ramos used as bait to draw his dad out of the house. They were then swept up and sent off to Texas. They were then returned a couple of weeks later due to public outrage. And in my mind, I was like, oh, phew, he's home. And yet, it doesn't really matter, because once you've been swept up into that, the emotional and mental damage that will continue to reverberate for all of these people being held. We currently have about 70,000 people being detained in the United States, which is more than double than what we've had under past administrations. Last week, they made 2 huge purchases, spending hundreds of millions of dollars for more warehouses because they plan to expand, not contract. I live in fear because I am married to someone who is dark-skinned, and I worry all the time. I don't sleep much, or at least not disrupted. It's always disrupted. He was not born in this country, and he came here as a 17-year-old college student. He is now a naturalized citizen. And I will tell you, he is the best American I have ever met. So with whatever power you have, I would just request that you do everything you can to rein in ICE and not allow our citizens to be terrorized. Thank you.
Megan Callahan, followed by Sydney Carden.
Hello, my name is Megan Callahan, and I live in Bloomfield Hills. I grew up in Bloomfield Hills and moved back to Bloomfield Hills. And I love all of our communities. I'm here today because of fear. This is the first time in my history in Oakland County and in our country that I do feel afraid. In fact, I didn't let my husband know that I was coming today because he probably would have discouraged me out of fear. We have neighbors that are not white. We have kids who are not white. We question when we send them to school. We're very concerned. And I think one thing I heard recently, a Dr. Reverend Black, who is a pastor at a church in Chicago, said on this issue and other issues, he said, people are not the problem. We are not the problem, but we take it out on each other. And I think that's something important to think about. We're part of systems that drive our behavior. And having a background in psychology, Abraham Maslow came up with what's called this hierarchy of needs, which many of you, I'm sure, have heard of. But it starts with how humans develop and how we behave. What's the motivation? The first thing that humans have to achieve is to feel physically safe and have your physical needs met. Food, clothing, shelter. The second category he put on there was safety. The next one, love and belonging, esteem, and then self-actualization. And right now, everything that everyone has been saying has painted a perfect portrait of this triangle diagram. So the most important thing for us to develop are those lower needs. So right now, people are feeling fear because that safety net is not there. And it's something that's very scary. And I'm hoping that everyone can get some momentum and some courage in this moment. If everyone could turn to their neighbor and just say, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Because it's very important that we think about what's important to us. And I did get some information over the weekend that since June, over 300 people from Pontiac have been taken alone. And I don't want my kids to grow up in a community where they have to go to school and be afraid, where they have to go do ice drills. So I thank you and have much gratitude for all of you commissioners. And thank you for having an opportunity for us to speak, because I think so many people want to speak who haven't because of the fear. And we are not alone, we are not the minority. Thank you.
It's confusing. Yeah.
Like, where is it? I just started to make a noise.
The little accent.
Sydney?
My name is Sidney Carden. I'm from Huntington Woods. Thank you for supporting the county's limitation on working with ICE. Thank you for supporting the resolution. As ICE agents murder residents of Minneapolis and Trump locks an investigation into Renee Good's murder, Oakland County needs to protect vulnerable citizens and legal residents from the cruelty and criminality of ICE. Who are the vulnerable residents? Brown people, people of Latin American heritage are being dragged out of cars, homes, and daycare centers. Black people like Keith Porter in Los Angeles, who was murdered by an off-duty ICE agent, and people of Somalian descent in Minneapolis who are being arrested and deported. Members of the LGBTQ community who are publicly derided by Trump and administratively and legislatively attacked. Jewish people, not yet overtly attacked by ICE, but disparaged in comments by CPB Patrol Chief Greg Bovino, dressed in his Nazi-like garb. Palestinian citizens who support peace in Gaza are detained, and white citizens who peacefully protest are tear gassed. If you don't look like or think like Trump and his minions, you may be subjected to bodily harm by ICE. The actions of ICE cannot be separated from the actions of the FBI confiscating election records and ballots in Fulton County, Georgia. I serve as an elections inspector for Oakland County. During the last presidential election, the Oak Park Community Center was crowded with people of different races and ethnicities. People who usually don't encounter each other in the normal course of their lives were having friendly conversations while patiently waiting to avail themselves of our most fundamental and revered right, the right to vote. The specter of masked and armed ICE agents at any election site is an abhorrent one and a chilling one, and is distinctly meant to curtail our constitutional right to vote. The ultimate goal of ICE's attack on our bodies and Trump's attack on our rights is to perpetuate the Trump presidency beyond constitutional limits. That's a dictatorship. Any assistance given to ICE will result in bodily harm to Oakland County residents and will threaten the integrity of our constitutional rights. Thank you for standing earlier against dictatorship and standing for democracy.
Rebecca Nagaski, sorry.
Hi, Rebecca Nagaski, Huntington Woods. I want to say that I am glad that the commissioners here are supporting the three bills in front of the House, except I was surprised that it did not get unanimous approval from all of you, and that actually there was someone not going for it because it seemed completely just three very humanitarian democratic statements. And I would like to support the Oakland County commissioners to go forward in just the fundamental things that were spoken to as far as needing a warrant for any kind of arrest, not to go into any county facilities without that, and that our sheriff and police force really need to protect our citizens from ICE. That's it.
John Koski.
Hey, John Koski, Troy, Michigan. Never really thought I'd have to come to a commissioners meeting to ask that we follow the law, observe due process, and to endorse a resolution to do only that. But more than that, the County of Oakland is an active participant with ICE in accosting people from the street. Okay, several people have brought up the Clemens database, okay, which is a very powerful tool. It has capability for live scan biometrics in the street. It's Orwellian. And any one of us is a candidate, as well as all the Black and real people. This is not America. It's not the America I grew up in. And it's incumbent on each one of us to stop it. We can't wait for the contract to expire for Clemens. It needs to stop today. Okay.
Bia Lamparski.
You did that well.
So it's 16 years of Catholic school. I've got my Latin training.
That's exactly right.
My name is Beata Lamparski and I'm a resident of Beverly Hills. And I am here to ask you to take the initiative to create a resolution that will protect civil immigration and control how ICE can enforce their activities in Oakland County. I must say, I was very disappointed that Washtenaw beat us to the punch. We are the premier county. We should be taking it. But on a little more serious note, the reason is we have to be proactive. Right now, all the attention is on Minnesota and Minneapolis. But the crosshairs will soon be upon Michigan and our communities. And already Pontiac has a number of residents that have been taken and are in detention, and Detroit. And the numbers are growing. They're just quieter here. So we have to be proactive. We have to protect our neighbors. And it's your job as our leaders, we elected to do that. So please, make it a priority.
Debbie Duong.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners, thank you for letting me speak. My name is Debbie Duong, I live in Oxford. I'm here to urge you to pass the resolution regarding civil immigration enforcement practices and prohibiting the use of county resources or buildings in the absence of a judicial warrant for reasons of humanity, constitutional responsibility, and community trust. We live in one of the most prosperous and safest counties in Michigan, yet ICE operates in ways that resemble a third world police force, militarized, using excessive force, racially profiling, masked, unidentifiable, and lacking meaningful oversight. This is unacceptable and a contradiction for anyone in this room that values due process. Immigration enforcement is a civil, not criminal matter. Violations should be addressed through notice, hearings, and fair deportation proceedings. Arresting undocumented individuals who are working, law-abiding, and striving to provide a better life for their families exceeds the proper authority of ICE, which is intended to focus on real criminal threats and genuine public safety risks. As others have stated before, using county resources for immigration enforcement jeopardizes the safety of all Oakland County residents and misuses taxpayer dollars. And I wanted to highlight another reason why this resolution needs to protect human rights of our residents. Detainees are often sent to facilities with inhumane conditions, overcrowding, inadequate medical care, limited access to attorneys and family, prolonged detention, abuse, and even death. These conditions are what we condemned in other countries, yet it's happening here in Michigan. until there's real oversight and meaningful improvement, the Oakland County Sheriff's Department should not cooperate with ICE and assist them in their operations. If involvement does occur, there must be full transparency so the communities can be assured civil liberties and human rights are being respected. Anything less puts Oakland County at legal risk and the wrong side of both the Constitution and basic human rights. Finally, I need to speak about trust. I know, and this county knows deeply, what happens when trust in institutions breaks down. Once trust is shattered, it simply cannot be repaired with words or time. If this resolution is not passed, fear will grow and trust between the residents and local government will erode further. And I implore you to pass the resolution to prioritize safety, humanity, constitutional boundaries, and responsible law enforcement over militarized and inhumane practices. Thank you.
Steve Gold.
Morning, Commissioners. My name is Steve Gold. I live in Huntington Woods. Before my retirement some years ago, I served for a number of years as the Director of Health and Community Services for Macomb County and as the Director and Health Officer for Macomb County Health Department. I wish to address the resolution which is before you and the resolution which should be before you this morning regarding civil immigration enforcement activities. This morning, you will choose to support the Michigan Senate Bills 508, 509, and 510, and you should. But by doing only that, you will give up the opportunity to protect Oakland County residents on Oakland County property per se, and protect them only when they are at certain specific types of institutions. The resolution which should be before you would be complementary to the Senate bills, and the benefits of an Oakland County specific bill will not be delivered by the proposed Senate bills. I had intended to speak to you this morning on the sections of the now set aside bill that reference the effects of ICE and CBP activities on the public health, the sections which speak to trust between residents and public health personnel, and the erosion of that trust which occurs when local governments cooperate either passively or actively with civil immigration enforcement activities. I was going to speak from my personal experience in attempting to provide health services to Macomb County's Hispanic population. My failure as the responsible official to achieve that goal to an adequate degree and the serious consequences of that failure, measurable by maternal and child health indicators, levels of food insecurity and malnutrition, communicable disease statistics, environmental exposures, and other parameters. And I was going to tell you that fear of La Migra immigration activities at our facilities was the single most significant cause of our Hispanic residents' failure to receive services in our facilities as people of other races and ethnicities did. Public health facilities will be considered sensitive locations under Senate Bill 508, though all public health services, for example, environmental health activities such as radon detection and well and septic regulation, which have tremendous consequences for human health, are not necessarily covered. But let's stipulate that all public health activities and all public health facilities would in fact be covered in the final version of the Senate bills. By leaving the limitation of civil immigration enforcement activities entirely to the state, Oakland County will, through its passivity, allow these activities to continue in county buildings and on county property not specifically referenced in the Senate bills. The county, you, the governing legislative body, will have given up the opportunity to say that you protect Oakland County residents whenever and wherever you can. Every decent person, whether in government or out of government, should oppose, resist, and prevent, if possible, the terrible things that ICE is doing in our cities. Yes, the package of Senate bills should be supported and passed, but the Oakland County specific bill that you've set aside should be passed as well. The one does not replace the other. I ask you not only to support what the state is doing, but to show equal diligence here in Oakland County. Thank you.
Jacqueline Sullivan.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Jacqueline Sullivan. I live in Royal Oak Township, which is not Royal Oak, it's kind of 8 in Wyoming, if anybody, a lot of people who live in Oakland County don't even know Royal Oak Township exists. But it's primarily a neighborhood of color, and we have, well, traditionally, I guess, I don't know, we have an incredible community, and our wealth is maybe not in our tax contributions, but our wealth is in our spirit and our community and the way we lift each other up. And I have neighbors that are immigrants that are just terrified, and you know, a couple of us run groceries for them, and one of them has a car from their business and it has some foreign language on it, and you know, they're parking in front of our houses and stuff like that. We're trying to protect our friends. And last night I heard from maybe I should have led with this. One of my best friends disappeared last May, and I heard from him 2 days ago. And this is a 6'4" white man from Eastern Europe, from Croatia, and he'd been in the military in Europe. So you know, 6'4", 220 pounds. One of his neighbors called ICE on him in Detroit last May. He spent 4 months in detention in Texas. He looks like all you guys. He looks like all the men in here. He was sodomized brutally for 4 months. The man is so broken, I took him to an intensive outpatient because he can't function. They killed his dogs, and they took him to Texas. And this can't happen. This can't happen to the people who live in Oakland County. This can't happen to any of our friends, our neighbors. We're a wealthy melting pot full of all different cultures here, and it's really important that we protect each other. Anyway, I'm just hoping that we stay on the right side of history, because everything is going to be remembered. Anyway, thank you.
Joel Brandt.
Commissioners, my name is Joel Brandt. I live in Madison Heights, and I'm the pastor of Spirit of Christ Lutheran Church in Clawson. I come simply to add my voice and presence to those who have been speaking about these weighty matters and the resolution that's been before you today, to ask ICE to respect a ban on operations in our county buildings. And to remind you what you already know. You hear it in the passion and the speaking of the fellow residents here. You hear some fear, but I also hope you hear their courage and how brave they are to be able to speak to one another, to build community. We can and will prevent the unjust, unsafe, and unlawful actions that we have seen played out in other cities. Our federal government still maintains that ICE enforcement has been focused on the so-called worst of the worst. For months, we've known that's not true. I saw news accounts yesterday that something like only 14% of immigration arrests last year were those convicted of a crime. Meanwhile, local leaders have consistently said that ICE activities have made their communities less safe, not more safe. Yesterday, the Trump administration announced federal health cuts to state and local public health departments in 4 states. I wonder if such cuts are coming to Michigan. And if they are, then our own Oakland County Health Department could see the needs for its services increase. If there's fear around that, well, that's dangerous. Let's make sure that we keep our county buildings safe places for residents to seek those services. And also, by the way, safe for the dedicated county employees who provide those services. Make our county's desires known before a surge comes here. We can protect public safety and remain fully compliant with the law. You're gonna work hard with language to do that. But beyond the language on paper, recognize the passion and the desires of the citizens that you serve. Our friends, our neighbors, our family members, those who deserve our support.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tori Shaw? Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Tori Shaw and I live in Birmingham. I am not a Michigander. I'm from the East Coast. I just came back from living abroad for 9 years. I love Michigan. I think this is an incredible place to land after being away. I don't know what the hell is going on with our country though. And as we were listening to the historians, it just, as a few people have mentioned, I just keep thinking, how will this look in 50 years, in 20 years? And will we have made the right moves? And I hope you, the commissioners, will do what I think you're gonna do, but I hope you will be bolder than that. I hope you will be stronger and push it, 'cause we got you. And let's lead. Let's be not just kind of doing what we can, let's do more. I hope we can be an example for other counties, not just in Michigan, but nationally. I'm a mom of 2 teenagers, and what is happening for our kids, we as parents were talking, the phones and social media and what COVID did to them. Well, I am more worried about them seeing the news, about people being shot in the street for speaking up for their neighbors. I'm worried about my kids thinking that this is normal, that you can just go and take people who've lived in our country and given so much to our country for 30-something years and they can just be taken away. It's insanity. It is not what our kids need. I'll close by saying that I just saw a really great movie called Sinners. I don't know if other people saw it. It's amazing, a lot of extraordinary messages, many big themes. And one big message that I took away was you should not invite someone into your home or your house of community who is going to do you harm. Now, I'm not saying that ICE is a bunch of vampires, but they are not well-trained, they are undisciplined, they are cruel, they are biased, they have a quota, and they are bloodthirsty. So I would suggest that we need to protect our community, the entire community, by keeping the door closed. Let's not invite them in.
Danielle Mellon.
Hi there, my name is Danielle Mallon. I'm a resident of Birmingham, and I'm here today to request your review and consideration of the proposed resolution, which is I think why a lot of us are here, regarding civil immigration enforcement in Oakland County. All residents should be able to safely access public services, participate in civic life, and engage with their local government without fear. There's so much fear in this room, in our community today. The proposed resolution clarifies that civil immigration enforcement is a federal responsibility and ensures that county resources, staff, and facilities remain focused on serving the public unless presented with a valid judicial warrant or court order, despite what the Speaker of the House believes. Across the state and country, local governments are taking steps to protect public safety while remaining compliant with the law. In Birmingham, where I live, I reached out to city government and law enforcement to consider the same. I was told by our police department that they would not be working with ICE, and that filled me with so much pride. I was told by my county commissioner that the Oakland County Sheriff would not be working with ICE, but I'm hearing statements to the contrary. This proposal is carefully written to be legally sound while consistent with Oakland County's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, safety, and respectful of the county's proper role. Thank you so much.
Got Ren Nushai.
Good morning. My name is Ren Nushai, and I am a resident of the city of Troy. I echo a lot of the sentiments from everyone that spoke up until now. I particularly want to echo the statements of the gentleman who was an attorney. As a fellow member of the bar, I am here to tell you that everything he uttered to you was 100% correct. As someone that whose practices delves in immigration law quite a bit, I think I can speak with some degree of confidence in that regard. Without going into all the details that a lot of our speakers have said today, I would point out something that we all, I think, can agree on, which is we're living in extraordinary times, and extraordinary times demand extraordinary effort. And doing the same old thing that we've done up until now obviously is insufficient, because this is an unprecedented moment. What also teaches me, well, law also teaches me, and I think it teaches a lot of us as attorneys, is the ability to distinguish between substantive documents and performative documents. And the one that you've voted on today is performative. It is not substantive. It does nothing. And if we care about our residents, we need to get to substantive and leave the performative politics aside. It will not help anyone. So I encourage you to take charge of the situation, take charge of the county, take charge of our narrative, adopt the resolution that was presented to you. It's solid legally. There's nothing to be reviewed. It's the right thing to do. Thank you.
Got Mike Weisel? Mike?
Wise.
Oh, Wise. Oh, okay.
Mike Wise, Commerce Township. This is one of the darkest, most evil times in American history. The level of blatant depravity and evil is off the charts. We're not being controlled by a government of human beings. We are being manipulated by monsters, pure and raw demonic forces. I can only hope that we eventually see the light at the end of this bleak tunnel. What's going on now will be taught to kids for future generations. We will look back at this time and see just how twisted and hateful human beings in America are. This is not some new unprecedented era of evil for America. What we're seeing now is just the mask slipping, the final form of a system that's always been rotten to the core. Every atrocity, the corruption, the hatred, the open cruelty is just American history stripped of its public relations team. Genocide, slavery, imperial wars, and worship of profit and power. It's not a glitch, it's the operating system. The Nazis weren't some freakish European aberration. They were Western values, racial supremacy, industrialized violence, cults of authority taken to their logical endpoint and given a steel backbone by German engineering and now American engineering. Hitler admired American racial laws. Our shock at our political figure's fascism is denial. It's just the same rot without the polite mask. What we are experiencing, Trumpism, isn't a departure from American norms. It's their unrestrained expression. Strip away the euphemisms, and what's left is the same old story. Domination, extraction, obedience, and a desperate need for an enemy. We've been taught to see the present crisis as an aberration. It's not. It's the same system running without brakes. It's Western civilization's shadow side on full display, no longer able to hide. Future generations will gasp in horror at how twisted things have gotten. or more likely the system, the internet, social media politicians, will make sure the young are too distracted or brainwashed. It's monsters and demons running this country. It's the same breed of self-interested, power-drunk men who have always run things, convinced their violence is justified by destiny, God, or the stock market. The only thing that's changed is how naked it has become. Stop looking for the light to magically return. The only hope we have is each other, ordinary people feeling something real in the ruins and people refusing to play along. No gods, no masters, and no more illusions. The darkness isn't new. The only question is whether we finally decide to see it for what it is and fight back. The next No Kings is March 28th. Mark your calendar, be there. And don't forget about the Epstein files.
Thank you. Victoria Cole. Victoria. Lori Lisi. Linda Steinbeck. Oh, hi.
Hi, I'm Lori Lisi.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Commissioners, thank you for letting us speak today. My name is Lori Lisi. I'm a resident of Huntington Woods in Oakland County, and I'm here today to speak in favor of the resolution to prohibit civil immigration enforcement in Oakland County buildings and facilities, and to prohibit the voluntary cooperation of Oakland County employees with any Department of Homeland Security agents. Last night, I also learned about this database that is shared with other law enforcement agencies and with which Department of Homeland Security has access under a contract. I want to reiterate what others have said, that needs to be terminated now. You guys said you were in favor of Senate Bill 509. I think that talked about not releasing data to ICE. That's exactly what this database is doing. But the resolution is more than about our tax dollars. It's also about whether Oakland County will act morally. Quoting Professor Timothy Snyder, we need to be clear. ICE is not law enforcement. ICE is a presidential national paramilitary force carrying out actions that aren't legal under the guise of law enforcement. Mass militia do not belong in our communities. The least the county can do is to not assist them. What we are asking today is being asked of municipalities across the country. County commissions, city councils, and city mayors should be working together to craft policies that protect residents and guests alike. Instead, as in this instance, it is often being left to residents to draft and present these policies. Washtenaw County recently adopted an approach like the one being requested today, and we ask that you listen to your residents and follow Washtenaw County's lead. I would add, though, that I think you guys need to go further. I know that in my city, Huntington Woods, that I feel like there needs to be guidance to police officers and staff about what they actually do when they're confronted with ICE. It's fine to give them some general aspirational words, but they need to be told when they need to do what is required, when they need to interact with ICE, and when they can walk away. Thank you.
Victoria Cole, otherwise Glenda Steinbeck.
Good morning, commissioners, neighbors, friends. My name is Glenda Steinbeck. I have been a resident of Oakland County in the city of Oak Park since 1983. Oak Park and other communities in our county have already issued statements and adopted policies regarding ICE and Customs and Border Patrol, and it's time for Oakland County to do the same. The resolution that you spoke of earlier, supporting the Senate bills, does not go far enough. By your own admission, it will not pass, and it's not worth the paper that it's written on. I would urge you to consider the resolution that has been put in front of you, affirming Oakland County values regarding civil immigration enforcement practices and prohibiting the use of county resources or buildings for such activities absent a judicial warrant. I'm gonna skip over all these highlighted points that are in that resolution. You have it in writing. I'm fully in support of it. I would ask that you also support it. In addition, I would encourage you to end the cooperation agreement with Clemens as soon as legally permissible. I want to say that it is difficult enough as a woman of color, a Black woman, to survive and thrive in this country without the constant threat that I'm gonna be rolled up on by some thugs and terrorists in an SUV with blacked out windows, with men jumping out that are masked with no identification. You cannot expect me or anyone else to comply with people that are approaching us that way. We need protection from you in Oakland County and in our facilities. I would like to also just briefly address the comments that were made earlier by one of you regarding people submitting their comments by emails, copy and paste or whatever. I submit to you that not everyone has the time, the ability, or the words to express their concerns. And you should not discount them, your constituents, just because they read something that they agree with and that was their only vehicle for submitting it to you. And because it is Black History Month, I have to quote Dr. Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
The time is always right to do the right thing.
Jean Bardas.
Thank you to all of the speakers and thank you to all of you. I'm gonna say many of the same things that, definitely no ICE on county property, especially schools. And if that means adopting the resolution similar to what Washtenaw did, so be it. If it means writing your own that does the same thing, so be it. I also wanna say that no 287G agreement should be entered into in any way that means that you're cooperating with ICE. And I would wonder if this Clemens agreement doesn't fall under that and, why that cooperation is happening with the Department of Homeland Security. I also would like to ask for some humanitarian things that you support the community with $50K of support for legal aid for those who are facing immigration charges, and also help them just live while they're hiding in their houses with food aid for them as well. Using the county money to do good. It's not always about what you don't do. Sometimes it's what you do to make people stronger, The reason that I'm here is because of the imprisonment that's happening. We have 75% more immigrants in prison today than we did 1 year ago. Yet, Trump administration is seeking contractors to help overhaul the immigration concentration camps. And some of them as large as holding 8,000 employees, detainees, sorry, people. And it's not just immigrants, 8,000, and one of these privately held concentration camps with a capacity of 500 people is planned in Romulus, right? Down the street from all of us here in Oakland County. We can do better, we can say, I did like when the woman said, we're the premium, we should have went first. I agree, we wouldn't be here today if you guys already had done this. Why haven't you done this? And then I just want to say why, what is personal to me about it, and I'm going to use the words of Masha Gezen in an op-ed that he wrote on January 24th. And he said, the current administration seeks not merely to govern this nation, it seeks to reduce us all to a state of constant fear. That's the quote. I know that this fear exists. I've been on the street collecting signatures
for invest in my kids to improve funding for public education. And I've spoken with literally thousands of your constituents who are living in fear. And they might not be here today, but they want this. And the fear is of violence, going back to the quote, from which some people may at a given moment be spared, but from which no one will ever be truly safe. That is our new national reality. State terror has arrived. You have the power to act. This is all I can do.
Oh, great to know, thank you. Thank you. Mary Johns. She may have, no, Mary? Mary, I gotta say, my mom's name is Mary Johnson, so it's great to see you.
Hi, my name is Mary Johnson. I'm here with my husband Joe, although he had to stay out in the hallway. And we live in Troy in Oakland County. And right now, I'm supposed to be making travel plans, reading books that I've held on to for years to read, and enjoying my grandkids and enjoying retirement after working for 40 years. But I am not. I am here. I'm here to ask you to review, consider, and bring up for a vote the proposed resolution regarding the civil immigration enforcement activities in Oakland County buildings and facilities. And I must say, as a resident of Oakland County myself, and I have been out there and witnessed some ICE activity, I live in fear. I mean, I don't want to be shot and killed because I think what they're doing, there's masked men out there taking people. I think that Oakland County residents should be able to safely access all their public buildings and engage with local government without fear. And I am fearful. The civil immigration, the ICE people, is federal responsibility, but the county is here to protect us and to keep our interest upmost and foremost in their minds. Unless, of course, there is a judicial warrant or a court order that is legitimate. Protect us and keep ICE out of our country, out of our county, our resources, and our public buildings. No one should feel afraid of their government, and unfortunately, we do. I should be enjoying my retirement, and instead, I am here. Will you stand with me and be brave? Thank you.
Okay, so I've been told the cafeteria is empty, so everyone should be here. So last and final call for Victoria Cole. Oh, she had to leave. She had to leave, okay. Thank you. So I will cross her off then. Marisa Gagino.
Close. Marisa Gacino.
Gacino,
I live
sorry.
in Royal Oak. I am a member of an organization called Strangers No Longer. We have been meeting with police chiefs for a year to advocate against 287G agreements. And I was part of a group that met with our chief in November of 2025. Chief Moore assured us that Royal Oak would not be signing a 287G agreement nor work with federal law enforcement. Despite this promise, on February 21st, one of his officers stopped a driver and his wife without insurance. The driver did not speak English and was noticeably nervous, and the officer and his backup felt it was their duty to call ICE. Not his supervisor, not his own department, ICE. The plan is too late for this family. The man had a driver's license, they knew there were no warrants, and he had legal status to be here. They were made to wait 40 minutes in the car, and in that time worried about who would care for their child. I can tell you the next city commission meeting was packed with angry residents. To his credit, Chief Moore called our group last week to tell us the city is working on a plan to prevent this in the future. I understand people make mistakes, and I believed him when he said his officers were truly sorry. Again, it is too late for planning. We need action now. While I am sympathetic to anyone in law enforcement and I wouldn't want this job for all the rice in China, they and people like us are not being taken from our families, illegally detained and taken to no one knows where. If this doesn't tell you our law enforcement cannot do the job we actually pay them for, I don't know what does. In fact, this mistake just made their jobs harder and our city and our county less safe. As someone who has had a business in Royal Oak for 33 years, I can also tell you our city and county can ill afford people not coming to our businesses and to our multi-million-dollar major events. Nor can we afford lawsuits that infringe on constitutional rights. Thank you.
Donald Johnson. Superb last name.
No relation. It's still morning, so good morning. My name is Donald Johnson. I'm an Oakland County resident and I live in the city of Troy. I come before this committee today to ask you to adopt and accept the proposed resolution. I understand what you did earlier today and I agree that it was performative, not substantive, but we need something substantive. I'd ask you today to think a little bit about the human side of the immigration system. Everyone in this country is affected by the actions of the purported immigration officials. Those most affected are among the most vulnerable members of our society, the immigrants. Think back to how your family members came to this country. Was it your mother, your father, perhaps a grandparent, or someone even further back? Virtually all of us have this history. An ancestor looking for a better life migrated to the United States for that opportunity. I am a third-generation immigrant. What about you? I encourage you to take action today to begin to make Oakland County a more humane place. We've all seen pictures and videos of how these purported federal immigration enforcement individuals, I'm not sure they're officials, have been pursuing people around the country, indiscriminately stopping vehicles, forcefully removing individuals from those vehicles with no probable cause or judicial authority. They've broken into homes and forcibly removed people from their homes, again, without probable cause or judicial authority. They have killed citizens who were protesting their activities. They are not operating within the requirement of the law as we understand those requirements. It is my understanding that the US government defines domestic terrorism as violent criminal acts dangerous to human life committed by individuals or groups without foreign direction to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, or influence or affect a government policy, or to conduct within the US-based and ideological, political, societal, or racial motivations. The actions of the purported immigration officials certainly seem to me fall under that definition. We need to make sure that they meet the standards, the same standards that our police department, in the state police department, the county sheriff meet. Unmasked, badges shown, name tags shown, and operating within judicial authority. I see that my time is up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Laura Vogel.
Good afternoon, or no, it's still morning. I suffered a stroke, so please be patient with me while I talk. I know Dave Woodward because I was the token Republican to on a cohort that I can't remember because I suffered a stroke. My name is Laura Vogel and I live in White Lake. And I am in Commissioner Whitebird's district, but I know Bob Hoffman because I'm a Republican. And I was most recently a lawyer, but now I'm retired because stroke. I can't believe that this is my country. I practiced for almost 40 years. And I represented people who were indigent, and I was a pro bono attorney for people who didn't have a lawyer. So I really, it's hard for me to speak because it's so emotional, but this is supposed to be my country. Republican, Democrat, independent, whatever. Not this. Not this. That's all.
Justine Galbraith.
Hello. My name is Justine Galbraith. I live in Troy. Thank you for extending the meeting for however long it goes and letting everyone speak today. I know a lot of folks, including myself, have really strong feelings about it. I also support the bills that you passed a resolution about today, and thank you for that, but I have to say it's wholly inadequate for the moment that we are in. We're seeing people being disappeared from their neighborhoods, children taken and used as bait, American citizens being slaughtered in the streets, literally. And that's not in Michigan. We haven't seen it rise to that level here, but we still have folks in Michigan who won't leave their homes, who are dependent on neighbors delivering groceries to them because of ICE stakeouts in their neighborhoods. This is something we haven't seen before at this level in our timelines, in our county, and it requires more. It requires a response at every level. And the resolution that you passed won't do anything. As well as it may be, it supports a good bill that will die in the Senate. Once it goes to the House, it will not pass. So this is inaction as policy, and we need more. The people in this room and thousands around the county and throughout the state are throwing sand in the gears of what ICE is doing at every opportunity. Groceries, setting up ICE watches, passing out whistles to alert their neighbors. We need our elected officials at every level doing what they can to add to the sand that we're all throwing in these gears, because we know that this is a lawless, cruel, brutal extension of a corrupt government. So this is not enough. I'm asking for more today. Please pass a policy that bans ICE from county property so that people in the county can go about meeting their needs safely. And so that we're not cooperating. There's no reason to cooperate and use our resources to aid this force. Please set a policy that preempts any 287G agreement, law enforcement, computer system, any kind of agreement that supports aid in any way, or supports ICE in any way. And please let the Clemens contract expire or cancel it. There should be no cooperation with these people. Thank you.
Miriam Faruqi. Hi.
Hi, my name is Mariam. I live in Troy. I've lived in Oakland County for over 20 years. And I'll say this is the most unsafe I've ever felt in Oakland County. I was nervous about coming here today, to be honest, because I know ICE is in Pontiac and I'm brown and they don't care, right? I've grown up in Oakland County, you know, I'm seeing the good and the bad. There's people who show a lot of kindness, but I've experienced people asking me, kids, well-meaning kids ask me as a kid, like, oh, like, do you know English? And when I say I'm from Pakistan, I mean, like, my family's from there, and they're like, oh, how long are you visiting? So I've been hearing those things my whole life that make me feel like I don't belong here. And now what I'm seeing is we've just given those people guns and said, go at it, do whatever you want. That doesn't make me feel safe. That concerns me a lot. I would hope, it concerns you all as elected officials that represent myself and I'm sure the thousands of other people who would want to be here today, but maybe they're not citizens and they don't want to get picked up on their way to make a public comment. What are they supposed to do? So the 3 things I'm here to emphasize today, the 3 quick, easy, 2 of them are free steps. One of them is, no ICE on Oakland County. They're a murderous federal group of agents that don't follow the law. Number 2, another one that's free is, like everyone else has said, no 287G agreement. Just make a policy saying we won't do that. That's not that hard. That doesn't cost any money. And then the third one does cost money. And it's just, as the government, your job is to support your residents, correct? I don't know if people can nod, if you would say so. The third request is $50,000 from your special projects fund, which is money that's already in the budget. Put it towards legal aid. Give people the legal pathway to become a citizen. If they want to, they just. The last quick thing I have to say is, I don't remember who, but somebody said, why are citizens sending resolutions? Our job is to give ideas. It's your guys' job to write the resolutions. And I'll say, okay, but then why hasn't there been a resolution that's been presented that actually reflects the ideas that people have emailed and called, and communicated in so many other ways about? So, make it a resolution.
Thank you. Ruth Zeal.
Hello, my name is Ruth Zeal, and I am a resident of Oak Park, Michigan, actually a relatively new resident. I moved down after 35 years in the Upper Peninsula of Marquette. And my reason for being here is, I've got 5 things I want to say, and then I'm going to give you a little background as to why I feel this way. I'll be brief. First of all, I agree, no ICE on county property. People should be able to go to the hospital. They should be able to go to their government offices without the threat of ICE picking them up. No 287G contracts. That is enabling ICE. I would like to see money set aside for legal aid for our most vulnerable, and right now that's our immigrants who have no way to protect themselves. And I'd like to see money set aside for food security, because these people are afraid to go out and work, and their kids are afraid to go to school, so they don't get the school lunches. And lastly, I would say end the Clemens contract, or at least don't renew it. And I feel this way because in Marquette, I worked on Northern Michigan University's campus, and I worked with Native students, Black students, foreign students here on valid visas who were being tailed and scared to death. They had a tree, a telephone tree, contacting everybody to make sure on a daily basis that nobody disappeared. It made me terrified. I was afraid. I have family members that are part of the targeted groups that our government has said they don't want here. People of color and people who belong to the LGBTQ community. They are citizens, they are law-abiding, and they don't deserve this. And I have a grandson who is 11 months old, he'll be 12 months old the end of this month. I wanna be able to look my grandson in the eye and say, I tried, buddy. I tried to make things better. And we need to make things better for the new people coming forward. Thank you so much. Appreciate law enforcement. I do appreciate the work this council put in. I spent 25 years in ER, and I worked with all of our law enforcement, city, state, county, and the university, and they were fine people, and I want to be able to say you can trust them.
Robert Zeal.
So, my name is Robert Zeal, and likewise, I'm from Oak Park, only for the last 11 months. I have found this to be the place I want to be because of my family, but also because it seems to be, in many ways, a welcoming place and a place where we can enjoy a good life. I do want to speak a little about fear. And I think it's been brought up several times, but I haven't done this, and that's why I'm here today, because I think it's important that I begin. And I think it's important that you begin to actually take action. You know, many of the actions you take are very consequential. They support the people that are working in your offices, the officers that are out on the roads protecting us. Those things are very consequential. But once in a while, you do get confronted with a consequential action that might lend fear in your thoughts, might let you be uncertain about what will happen if you take them. But we are at a point in time where taking action should overrule those fears. I'm doing my best to get started, to be braver about this, and I only ask you to be braver than I am and take real consequential actions on the behalf of the people working for you and on behalf of the people living in our community. Thank you.
Mary Jo Ebert.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mary Jo Ebert. I am a resident of Rochester Hills. I'm speaking today on behalf of myself and also as director of the Michigan Unitarian Universalist Social Justice Network. We're a faith-based organization. We face a moral and civic crisis. Bringing violent criminals to justice could never justify nor require a dragnet operation that pulls people off their jobs, separates families, and causes injury and trauma. There's no way to measure the trauma that is being caused. My church volunteers at an elementary school in Pontiac, where the kids are afraid for themselves, for their families, or for their classmates. How can children learn in that environment? We all know that the rightful path to citizenship has been dysfunctional and broken for decades, so people trying to follow a legal path really struggle. People are not objects to be warehoused for political gain and grotesque profit-making. The hour is here. You've heard the points of the resolution. I'll add just a few comments on that. No ICE on city property, county property, nor schools, churches, hospitals, daycare centers, and really anywhere. We don't need this anywhere. Regarding 287G contracts, we also don't want actions that mimic that without the contract. End the contract between Clements and DHS as soon as possible. That poses a threat to not only people who are immigrants here, but also people who look or sound like immigrants, people who are protesting. Anyone who's encountering law enforcement is in jeopardy. I'll add one more. No federal agents anywhere near voting locations or ballot boxes. Someone asked earlier that you take bold action. We need your bold creativity because the normal machinations of government don't meet this moment. We need your bold creativity, and you have support for it. Let's make our county and our state a place where people can live freely and safely. Let's use the strength of this very large county to have an impact statewide and for the country. We don't need to bow to vengeful, racist dictates of wannabe kings. Let's be Oakland County, let's be Michigan. Let's be a place that's safe and free and a wonderful place to live for everyone. Let's meet the moral moment. Thank you.
Samantha Hunt.
Good afternoon. My name is Samantha Hunt and I'm a Waterford resident. I wish to first thank you for your support of the resolutions of the upcoming passage of the relevant bills. However, we do know that this will not pass. And I ask that you do not abdicate your responsibilities and give us any guidance other than we'll look into it. I understand that that's to give us something to look forward to, but this has been going on for almost a year. These enforcement actions have been going on a long time. My 3 children attend Waterford School District, and my husband and I work within this community as well. We live in a corner of Waterford with the most diversity and have already felt the impact of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Valuable members of our community and my children's friends have returned to their communities of origin, not because it's become safe again, but due to fear. The migration of peoples to safer lands is a protected right. Our immigration crisis has been manufactured, and it is our responsibility to welcome the citizens who have been impacted by the intentional destabilization of nations. Today, I ask the legislative body not to cooperate with ICE's illegal enforcement in our community. With an immigration system so complex, it is unconscionable that enforcement is occurring in its current capacity. It is criminal and unnecessary. We are deporting hard-working, tax-paying individuals without scrutiny. Your support of the administration's ICE enforcement will be remembered as a black stain on the community and a mark on your morality. We are to love thy neighbor. My neighbor isn't a violent criminal, not the violent criminal they've been made out to be. My neighbor works hard, loves their family, and worships a loving God. Keep my neighbors safe by keeping ICE off community property and open up the Commissioner's Fund for legal aid for impacted immigrant families. Thank you.
Dan Lombardo. Dan Lombardo.
Oh, I think he had to go to work.
Okay. How about Patrice Lane?
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for allowing us to do this for as long as it takes. I think it's super important. I'm Patrice Michelle Lane, and I live in Rochester Hills. And I've never addressed a body like this before of governance. I'm here because I and we collectively have not done enough to prevent this from happening again. And I say again because We make a lot of comparisons to Gestapo, a foreign power, but our lands have seen fascist eruptions since the beginning, since the genocide of indigenous peoples for financial and property gain, right? The abuse of people of color in the South. I was a small child when Martin Luther King Jr. was gunned down, Bobby Kennedy. And that had an indelible mark on my life. So I want to say that presence, that fascist presence, I'm going to name it, it's a fascist presence, has always been with us. And we have done a great job at times in our lives, in our civic lives, in our national life, in our local lives, at keeping that at bay, because I think most of us believe that the good will overcome. But in order for the good to overcome, we have to put our feet on the ground and we have to speak up. So it's taken me 62 years to really learn that, I have to say. I wish I would have shown up sooner. We're glad you're here.
Yes.
I mean, I've said it, but not in this context. So that fascism that I just spoke about has become emboldened by a federal government that has destroyed checks and balances and put that element at the forefront now. And so we look to our local political leaders and to ourselves to hold them accountable. Somebody said earlier that all politics is local, and it's never been more true, I believe. We cannot count on our federal government to do right by us. So because of the indiscriminate violence and cruelty exhibited by the federal immigration agents nationwide and within our own country, I am here, am I done?
You have 10 more seconds.
Okay, please do adopt the resolution to keep these people, this violent element, out of our county lands and offices. People must be able to access services. Thank you.
Shirley Yee.
Shirley Yee, Baker Cummings. Sure,
Are you also on here?
I am. My friend's name is Shirley Yee, and she had to leave early. She's spoken in front of bodies like this many times. My name is Faye Stevenson, and I haven't. So I'll lead with Shirley's words that I'm just gonna read for everybody. Can you hear me through the mask?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, Lago Committee. My name is Shirley Yee. I live in District 11, Bloomfield Township. I am here as a resident born at William Beaumont and raised in Oakland County. I am here as your neighbor and a voting citizen. How many of you here are immigrants? From immigrant families, know immigrants, or are friends with immigrant families? Imagine if this is you and your family. You are terrified to send your children to school. You are scared to go to the grocery store, and you are overwhelmed from fear to even go to work. Imagine you are being hunted, targeted, afraid you will be ripped apart from your children today. That you might get snatched off the street, taken from your spouse, deleted from your job, and in fact, kidnapped from your whole life in this country. Not to even begin to mention the detention camps. When you are taken, we will have just lost not only a precious community member, we will have just lost the public trust that holds this community together. This is already happening in Oakland County, and you, as part of the Board of Commissioners, have the power to vote to help make it right. Oakland County prides itself on being a strong community, but community doesn't simply happen. It is an action. It's making sure that when we move with integrity and take action, we do so on behalf of every single one of us. I am urging you to do the following 5 things. No ICE on any county property. No 287G agreements. The allotment of $50,000 of the Special Projects Fund for legal aid for immigrants and families impacted by ICE. The allotment of $100,000 for families in need to address food scarcity for those families who are afraid to leave their homes. Please cut all contracts with DHS Clemis. Please join all the residents speaking here today to send a clear message that in Oakland County, we protect all our residents. You can vote to make this happen. Thank you for your time today. And can I?
Yes, and you were Faye Stevenson, correct?
Yeah, I am Faye Stevenson from Royal Oak, and I don't need to say that much, but I would just like to speak for the many lives that are suspended in the balance. We're at this point between what we all know in our hearts and our right minds to be morally right, and then the increasingly violent and morally abhorrent actions that indicate no more than an abuse of power and the manipulation of those with less agency. So it's really on all of us to consider how many lives we are willing to essentially sacrifice. We can each find ways to take action that will be effective in defending and in serving each other and protecting each other. I also just want to speak to the fear. I appreciate that other people have mentioned this shared experience of living daily in fear. It's been a year. We have all lived under, we all heard the threats long before the actions came. We've heard what could come, but we can defend against it. And every little act of defense, every little act of defiance, of resistance, creates for all of us a moment of safety, an island of safety that we can rely on and we can build on, and we can find that for each other. And that is how we can make it through this time. There is a way for us to heal and to mend and survive and then thrive, but we have to do it together. Thank you.
Christopher Ford. All right, Marguerite Gupta. Let's see her. How about?
Hi, everybody.
Oh, sorry. There.
We're not recording this or anything, right?
Oh, yes, we are.
Oh, we are? Okay. I actually was gonna come here and talk about how the Zoom hearing platform has no security and safeguards. I was gonna say, hey, I've got 5 Zoom hearing records that are completely corrupted by Judge Lisa Langton to cover up the corruption. I was gonna talk about my nice conversation I had with Mr. Richard Lynch, who is the court administrator, saying that he makes the call on whether or not there was been corruption when he only really looked at the transcripts that were already corrupted, looked at the video that was already corrupted, and said there's no corruption here. Like the statements were already moved, Mr. Lynch. But most importantly, I need to say happy Black History Month as a notification, as we are celebrating Black History Month. Hello, Board of Commissioners. I love you all, just like you probably love me. But the biggest thing is freedom and justice for all. All I hear from everybody is like, safety. We want safety. We want somebody to protect us. We want action. We want this. And it all really boils down to is there's 19 commissioners, right? Is it 19? They need a majority vote, which is probably 10, right? And it's the committees who bring these matters, these issues, all these comments to a quorum to say, hey, what should we do, right? We have our votes concentrated into 10 people, guys, for all of Oakland County. That's how important they are. That's why we vote. That's why we vote for these people. But let's see what we do with action. It's not just protection for the citizens, it's protection for Oakland County. It's protection for the sheriff's department who's caught right in the smack dab middle of it. It's not fair. We should not be in this position. But when it comes to action, you guys are also at risk. The board members are at risk. Do they want to make Oakland County a target, like watching us make their county a target? I don't know, that's up to you guys. But I'll tell you this, there's a road commission employee that's been harassed by a leader since last summer. There's been no action. I've been coming to these board meetings since October, November. There's been no action on Zoom hearing records that are court records. They've been corrupted by court officials to cover up all kinds of corruption. You name it, identity fraud, arbitrary altering emails, you name it, they're covering it up. And now we have this Clemens issue. And there is no contract with Clemens because now it's its own authority, guys. Starting in March, it's its own authority. It's not gonna be Oakland County. I don't know if you guys know that. They already made its own authority. Action is hard to take when there's so much consequences to involve. And the consequences that Oakland County might get for being anti-ICE or anti-this and trying to help our residents could be a lot more than we even know. And that's why it's so hard for anybody to say, yeah, this is what we're gonna do. I get it, I don't wanna be in your guys' shoes. But you know, we do need action. And that's the bottleneck. People can talk all they want, that's what politicians and everybody does. But action is more important to protect people. We just wanna know when it's gonna happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah Acosta.
My name is Sada, actually. I live, work, play, and dream in Pontiac. I have the honor and task working at a cultural center that has worked tirelessly to serve the Latina and Spanish-speaking community in our community for 33 years and counting, which is why I please ask that you do not ask us to continue to be patient. There are many of us who have been watching the failure of the county to show up for immigrants for that long, for decades. This is not something that has just happened in the past year, but a literal fear that is lived by many people in our communities across the county and tri-county area in Southeast Michigan, Southwest Michigan, etc., for many years. We're talking about folks who you allow their nightmares to continue as you persist and choose to look the other way and prioritize your own comfort, your own salaries over the lives of so many. I have walked these halls for many years. I have accompanied clients, immigrants, migrants, friends, family members as they navigate these systems, as they are already in fear of not being understood, not being believed. We're talking here about the single mom of 3 who wants to pay the bills to keep the lights on in her house and keep her kids. We're talking about survivors of domestic and sexual violence trying to file PPOs and protection orders without fear of being deported or turned away for not speaking English. We're talking about trans folks and trans migrants filing to legally change their name to affirm their identities and dignity. These are all the people that all of the folks in this room are claiming to also speak for. We're here to talk about everybody, not just the people immigrating in what some people deem the right way. We're talking about everyone in our community. Like many here, I'm here to implore you to pass this resolution, not to enter into a 287G agreement, to promote funding for legal aid, for food resources and access needs for our community, and to adapt to the ever-changing climate that we are all facing, and to do so always in support of the most at risk in your communities. We're here today to talk about a couple issues, right? This is not the first time nor the last time you will hear from us. I urge you to ensure that not only the passing of this resolution, But also that it is to commit to its enforcement, to the training of staff, and to show that this is more than a symbolic gesture, but one that gives reassurance to immigrants and allies across this county that are under the fears and terrors of hate-filled and ignorant systems. As Oakland County makes its move into downtown Pontiac, it's important that you all consider what kind of neighbor you will be. Do you know, there's that saying that, people may forget what you said, but they will never forget the way you made them feel. And I can speak, I hope, for Pontiac, a historical Black city, a city where we have Black and brown folks working together against systems, that we are paying attention. So please do not let the disappearance of our community, of our mothers, fathers, children, dancers, artists, chefs, engineers, entrepreneurs, caretakers, be violence that is sanctioned by the county. This is the power that you all have, the county level. The last thing I will say is El pueblo unido jamás será vencido, and it would be great to have language justice applied to this so more folks who are afraid of being here can understand what folks have said today. Thank you.
Sharon Heath.
Hello, my name is Sharon Heath, and I am a resident of Southfield. I've lived in Southfield most of my life and in Birmingham as well. Certainly I am a Black woman with 2 beautiful Black children, and I'm here to show and raise my voice for my brown sisters and brothers, as well as every one of you that are my sisters and brothers, to say that with Michigan Education Justice Coalition, we want to just support the resolution. We not only ask, but we demand and urge that you support this resolution so that we have safety, so that we have less trauma. I can certainly say as a Black woman that just driving or going places, there's always a level of concern. And I feel like Oakland County has been very safe for me and my family. But I want to make sure that not only you all are the front of safety, but that all of our different areas can be safe. So we should definitely be an example, and we should definitely consider all of those who may not feel safe getting home today and may not have felt safe even coming here today. But I'm here to raise the voices that couldn't be here and to just urge you to please support the resolution. Thank you.
Mike Flores.
First of all, round of applause to all of y'all. This is amazing. Really, really, really. Buenos dias. Mi nombre es Mike Flores de Troy. I'm first generation American, and I am Oakland County. This committee just passed a resolution to support state Senate bills related to civil immigration enforcement, and we appreciate that. Thank you. We especially want to thank Senator Chang and Moss for their leadership in inspiring residents across Michigan to get engaged locally, particularly in democratically led communities like ours. But we all know the reality. We know that as soon as it hits, we know that the state legislature is divided, so progress of these bills is going to be stalled. So the question for Oakland County is simple. What are we going to do here? With the authority that we have, how would Woodward coordinate with all the other committees to put forward a comprehensive resolutions that protect all of our residents? Will Lute take what she's learned here today to the PHS committee, which she leads? Over the past weeks, dozens of residents have emailed you. A true grassroots coalition has come together. Local organizations, congregations from many faiths, Democratic clubs, Republicans, and individuals from Ferndale to Oxford, from Troy to Milford, all united around one idea. We must protect our neighbors and ensure that people feel safe accessing their own county services. This is not symbolic. This is practical. This is about how Oakland County uses its buildings, its policies, and its budget. Residents are asking for 5 clear things. 1, no ICE on county property without a judicial warrant. Our county buildings must remain safe spaces for residents to access services and civic life. 2nd, a firm commitment that Oakland County will never enter into a 287G agreement. Local government should not be turned into an extension of federal civil immigration enforcement. 3, a $50,000 allocation to support a legal aid organization already serving families here in Oakland County. Due process should be accessible for everyone. 4, a $100,000 allocation to address food insecurity for children of families impacted by these enforcement actions. When families are disrupted, children are the first ones to be impacted, and we can and must do something. And 5th, a commitment not to renew the ICE Clemens contract, which expires next month. Oakland County should not maintain agreements that facilitate civil immigration enforcement through our local systems. Commissioners, this is about leadership. It's about leadership at a level where residents live their lives. While state conversations continue, Oakland County has the ability and the responsibility to act now. We are organized, we are engaged, and we are committed to showing up to every meeting. And we're asking you to meet the moment for all of Oakland County residents. For all of Oakland County residents. Gracias, and thank you for your time.
Dave Christine DeBano? Christine? Okay, how about Bethany Schreiber?
Hello, members of commissioners. So there are 19 commissioners. I just watched the Seahawks game on the weekend, and they said something about their 12th member. You know how they get so noisy up there in their stadium that it actually is like an earthquake? I think your 20th member is speaking today, and it might be good to listen. I'm very proud of being an American, but I'm not proud of being an American in today's lack of moral and ethical uses. No one should be shot just because they're protesting. No one should be shot or killed or maimed or dragged off down the street because their color of skin is different or they speak with a different language. The beauty of America is in the fabric of our community and how many different ethnic groups and colors and speeches and religions we have, because that's what makes us strong. Now I'm going to talk about how economics drives the country. And I know economics drives Oakland. These people that they're dragging off are workers. They're not lazy, lay around, no goods. They actually are out there working and they're buying things. And you know what? Those Canadian citizens that we love so much that live just across the bridge, maybe that bridge that won't be opened until it's named Trump.
Yeah.
So across that bridge, those Canadians, and I have relatives that live there, they're not coming over here to spend money. They're not spending money in Oakland County, and they did, believe me, I know they did. So our economics is being lost because they're not paying taxes, the ones that get dragged away. The ones who are not here buying things from across the river, they're not coming here. Think about the money, because I know money is what means the most to the people in charge. At least it seems like that. I don't like the fact that children, I'm a grandmother of 6 kids. I don't like the fact that they had to, number one, do active shooter drills. Alice, that was bad. Now they're gonna have to start doing active drills for ICE is coming. Do you know they probably can't sleep at night? Come on, if you can't think of anything else, think of the children. I think that's really important. Thank you very much for being commissioners and serving our community. And I'm from Troy, and is my commissioner. And we need to start at the community level, and we have to do at least as much as Washington has done. It's just important. It's important to your soul and the soul of America. Thank you very much, and God bless America, whoever the God is that you worship.
Bruce Felk, I know he had to leave. Marisa Kachina, she already spoke. Diane Falkowski?
Hello.
Hello.
Diane Filkowski, Orion Township resident, co-lead for Northeast Oakland Indivisible and a GDI, gosh darn independent. Granddaughter of a Polish immigrant who migrated to the US in the 1910s and labored in a coal mine at the age of 12. Growing up, I was regularly reminded to put myself in the other person's shoes by parents who recognized the dignity in every person. I believed for a long time that everyone was taught to do that. Recently, a dear family friend in Oakland County approaching retirement applied for Social Security, and he was told that they had no record of him being a US citizen. He was instructed to bring proof to the Pontiac office. With all of our conversations going on with our friends and neighbors and families, he got an earful and feared that he was being set up for detention and deportation. He gathered his documents, enlisted his adult son to drive with him and bear witness to whatever might happen, and went to the Troy office instead. He circled the building. There were no other cars in the visitor parking lot. Up he went with his documents and his son, not knowing whether they would leave together. Some or most of us who have lived 37 years or more as a United States citizen, as my friend has, might hope or even expect that a life well lived, fulfilled by education, work, friendships, love, marriage, and children, community service, faith, and lifting up those around us would lead to a retirement filled with contentment and a hope for the future and our future generations. So yes, I also ask you to pass the resolution, no ICE or CBP on county property, no to 87G agreements, 50,000 for legal aid for immigrants, 100,000 food support for those impacted by the threats of detention and the federal activity in our communities. And just a quick reminder that history teaches us that those that want to control a population go after the safety and security of our children. And then finally, the end to this Clemis agreement with DHS. So I want to just remind also that morality is a practice. Every time one skips an act of moral courage, it makes the next time to act harder. Every time you find the courage and act, it makes the next time easier. So let's not ask, what can we do? Leaders, as leaders, we have to ask, what will I do? What must I do? Thank you.
Angana Shah?
Hi, everyone. I have no idea if this makes you uncomfortable. I don't care. I'd like you to picture me with an assault weapon and 3 bigger guys right behind me. Same getup on their face, assault weapons and Kevlar vests. So, like, I could get shot and die, but they wouldn't. I live in Berkeley, and last year my son, who's 10 now, he was 9 at the time, I started letting him ride his bike to school. That was such a big independence thing. We live about a mile from our school. We don't have buses. And so just this week, he asked me when he can start riding again. And I told him, you can't. I'm sorry, honey, because there's stuff happening in Minneapolis and they got no warning and we will not have warning if they come here. And I explained to him that it's because, well, because I and Grandma are brown, we're all Indian, he's half Indian. And sadly, I can say he could, being half, pass for white. That whole phrase should have been retired decades ago. And he said, but then how would they know? I said, well, honey, they can tell by our name. How will they get our name? And now I know that Oakland County sold it to them.
Oh.
Just found that out today. It is really not okay for us to have to be afraid. I was born here, he was born here, my parents had green cards when I was born. None of that is what they care about. They're ethnically cleansing, they have quotas, they're snatching bodies, they're getting paid per body. Found out yesterday they've hired bounty hunters to come after us. So I'm working with a coalition that's drafting a much more detailed resolution that I hope many counties will adopt. There is more you can do, because no matter what you think of the hierarchy of law enforcement, the Constitution overrules all of that. If you choose to enforce it, if you choose to tell them that you won't put up with this, they're looking for easy targets, fight them. Fight them as a group, they will go away. They'll go somewhere else easier. You're not gonna get in trouble, especially none of the faces I see here. Oh, sorry. My son also said to me, but Mom, what if everyone just stood up against them at the same time? Like, if we did that, they couldn't win. And I said, they have guns, honey, and we don't. Because my one gun is not gonna beat those 4 guys behind me. And I said, we're trying. I would plead with you to try and stand up to them. They're not obeying the law. And Lori, I think she's gone. She said it accurately. This is not a law enforcement agency. Please give me 10 seconds. They are not vetted. They are hiring criminals, perhaps because they're criminals. Turns out they're not even being paid. I've been a federal government employee. I know many people here have. That's not what they are. They are a personal army. They've gone and seized ballots in Fulton County. They're acting at his behest. Real law enforcement is the Berkeley police that saved my mother's life 2 weeks ago. They showed up before the ambulance came, assured me that she wasn't having a stroke because they remembered her, didn't let me follow in the ambulance because I was too nervous, but told me exactly what to pack. And I met them there. The police is Sergeant Arnie, who talked me through letting my son walk to school, told me why it was safe. These guys are not law enforcement. You do not owe them cooperation. We are your residents. I am not less American than anyone in this room. Neither is my son, neither is my elderly grandmother. Take further steps and get it out of your head that you owe them any kind of deference, because that's not what they're giving the Constitution.
Rabbi Ilana Alper.
My name's Ilana Alpert. I'm the rabbi of Congregation Techiawi in Ferndale. And my colleague, Reverend Weatherly Burkhead Verhelst, had to leave early. I stand here representing her congregation, my congregation, which represents hundreds of your constituents. I just returned from the Jewish community is not united about a lot of things, and we are united about this issue. So if you're wondering about your constituents who are Jewish and where they stand on this issue, I'm telling you now. I just returned from Minneapolis. A rogue federal agency is occupying their community, and residents are distraught, terrified, and grieving. And you all must protect us from that fate. Every single branch, body, agency has a responsibility to do something to make ICE unwelcome here, to make it more difficult for them to do their lawlessness, to terrorize your constituents. A member of our community works for one of your agencies for the county. She called me in tears after seeing ICE on her way to work in Pontiac, and she's extremely disheartened by your inaction. There are several clear things you are choosing not to do, which we have repeated again and again. We came here this morning to support you, to applaud you for doing something real, something impactful. And I want to know who is responsible for removing the resolution from the agenda. perhaps that is something that we could get some information about how that kind of a decision was made. It seems not transparent or especially democratic. We feel powerless. You are not. If you had passed the resolution, you wouldn't have to listen to all of these comments. We could all go back to our work and our families. I've had to cancel 3 meetings. If ICE surges here, we, the people of Oakland County, will do what we can to protect each other. And we will not forget that our representatives did not. And we look forward to hearing that the resolution with teeth will return to the committee for a vote soon, and we will be here with balloons and chocolates to thank you and join your re-election committee. So thank you.
Olivia Duval. Andrew Carers. Sorry about that.
So I apologize in advance that I'm gonna be reading from my phone. Anyways, good afternoon, commissioners. And thank you for giving residents to speak today, or giving us time to speak today. My name is Andrew Capers, and I'm here as a lifelong resident of Oakland County. I currently live in Lake Orion, and I care very deeply about this community. I'm also here because as a brown citizen of this country who understands how quickly fear can enter everyday life when families feel uncertain about their safety. I feel like I need to speak up. And because of this, I feel like I need to voice my concerns about DHS and more specifically ICE operations in our county. I respectfully ask the board not to enter into a 287G agreement with ICE, to end the Orwellian Clemis contract with DHS that shares personally identifiable data about county residents, and if nothing else, to take the stance of not allowing any ICE agents to operate on county property, turning local institutions into extensions of federal immigration enforcement, an agency which many around the world and at home have said share similarities to brown shirts, the Gestapo, or modern-day slave catchers, damages trust, and ultimately makes everyone less safe. Which brings me to what I came here to talk about, actually, and that is the children of this county. I don't have any kids myself, but my wife is a teacher here in Oakland County, and she works in the Waterford School District. Every day she comes home, she tells me about how worried her students are about their own safety. And more than anything else, they're worried about the safety of their families and whether their parents will still be home when they get back from school. For some, this has already become a heartbreaking reality. She also hears stories circulating among students and families, valid fears about cars with blacked out windows near schools or bus stops, with people worried someone might be gathering information on families. And whether you believe that, like I do, that these are true stories of ICE surveillance or not, the fear is real to these kids and it affects how safe they feel just going to school every day. Schools are supposed to be among the safest places in our communities. Kids should be worrying about schoolwork, friendships, and what they're doing after school, not about immigration enforcement, following them home, or showing up near their classrooms in school parking lots or bus stops. Children should not carry that fear. But if you watch the news, you'll realize they have already taken the brave first step themselves and organized a walkout to stand up and protest, even in the face of great personal risk and fear. This shouldn't have to be the job of the county's children. So I'm asking this board to take a clear position, and if nothing else, to stand in solidarity with the children and families impacted by ICE by following Washtenaw County's example. No ICE activity on county property, and especially not in or around schools. This is not about ignoring the law, it's about making sure the county buildings remain places where residents can seek services, report crimes, and participate in community life without fear. Oakland County has the chance to lead the way by keeping our institutions focused on service, safety, and community trust, and by making sure children in this county feel safe to go to school. America is supposed to be a place where our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is literally enshrined in this country's laws, not a place where families feel afraid to live their daily lives. All of you can be the good guys in history. And we can make sure that this still holds true. And that's all I have to say. And thank you for your time.
Anne Ducan, Duchan?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. It's interesting this afternoon, I left my house at 8 o'clock. Thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to you today. Thank you to all my fellow citizens. You're all impressive, wonderful people, and as I'm sure all of you are, I don't know you. But Charlie is my commissioner. I don't have big prepared remarks. I admire the articulate speeches of those before me. I'm not a public speaker, but I am a mom, and I look at the world my kids are growing up in, and I compare it to what I grew up in, where I met exchange students from several different countries in my very small town high school, and went on to host exchange students at our high school. At that time, it seemed like the United States was so welcoming and boldly so that we would want to reach out and share a really positive vision of the world with others. I stay in touch with my exchange students, and it's hard for me to think of them seeing the change and feeling the change from the country that they came here and admired. I can say that one of the exchange students we took to New York City on his request to go see the United Nations, and he actually began crying when he saw the United Nations building and toured it. And it's just, it's a big change, it's a big fall. I think some of the lessons of history are that silence is complacence.
Compliance.
And it's also compliance, but that's why I'm speaking, because I don't agree that any of this is right. And I have a son who studies history voraciously. He said that, fascist leaders eventually fall. It just differs how long it takes. And I can say that, for me, what I can do is speak. I can go to rallies. I can call my friends and say, please come with me. But you're in a position of making policy, and decisions that you make can affect people's lives. My son works as a paralegal. I said, well, maybe you can help me come up with some words if I have to say something. And what he said was, could you live with yourselves when the history of this period is written, knowing that you did nothing to prevent the abuses and cruelty that followed? So I'm speaking up, and I hope that you will take this opportunity provided by this resolution to do something. Thank you.
And Kathleen Jensen.
Hello, I'm Kathleen Jensen. I live in Huntington Woods, have for 36 years now. I'm not a public speaker, so this will be very short. I'm here to show my support for resolution, no ice in the county buildings or property. And Clemis, and no 287G contract. I myself have never needed to live in fear, but I so feel the reality that the fear is real. Whether it's fear from the little kids at school, fear from the adults that are just working or trying to drop their kids off at school. America should not have to fear their government. That's all.
that's everyone, cannot read, Gayton from Pontiac is the last, sorry about that.
That's okay. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Katya Gayton. I'm here to speak for all of the immigrants in Pontiac because I live in Pontiac. And I am scared for my life, just how much they are scared for their life. I'm very emotional about this because I've got to witness it. I get to witness it every day. I wish you guys would all put yourself in these kids' shoes and see how much this affects them. These kids are going home with no parents, no food, no schools. They can't go to school. They can't have play dates with regular kids that maybe your grandkids can. These are brown children. These are Black children being attacked. And preschools, high schools, elementary schools, they're going hungry. Parents with no money, they can't go outside. We're being targeted at our stores. We're being targeted at bus stops. We're being targeted out of the school. I've seen it. I've seen the cars. I know the cars. I've seen the faces. This is not okay. I am a mother of two brown girls that I am scared of them being attacked because they are brown. Why does our skin color matter? Why? Why does your skin matter more than mine? It's not okay. I don't want to see ICE. And I'm going to say, I don't want to see ICE around the schools. I don't want the 287G. I've seen everything. I've seen how they have guns now. These are unidentified men with masks that are putting fear in our children, that are putting fear on my community. It's not okay. How would you like it if it was you? If it was your children being bait? What if it was you trying to drop off your kid and then you see a car following you from dropping off your kid to school? That child, what's going to happen to that child? What is it? Government just picks them up? No more parents? The parents are deported? What's going to happen to our kids? What is happening to our kids? There's kids missing. They're not in the systems. They're missing. Just, what if it was your grandkids? What if it was your kids? Speak up for these kids. They are just like you. You were once that child. I was once that child. I speak for them. It's not okay. And I really, really hope you guys open your eyes and see everything that's going on. I say with the broken heart that I carry for all of these parents and all of these families that are being affected. Thank you.
Thank you. That's everyone I have on my list. Is there anyone else? I'll just go around this way. Anyone else wants to talk? Anyone else wants to talk? Okay, that concludes our public comment. Other business, anyone else have any other business they wanted to address? Seeing no other business, I'll adjourn. It's 1:07 p.m. Thank you all for coming.